Welcome to America's Day at the Races. Snow falling at South Ozone Park. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, has that entrance ever looked more beautiful than that shot? Well done, guys. So look at what this surface looks like this afternoon here at the Big A at Aqueduct. Sloppy going with that snow coming down. And we have the late pick 4 coming up next here. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. And that feature race coming up here in New York today, that is the Broadway, and the conditions perfect for a horse who ran huge over the sloppy going last time out.
No question about it. The connections of Breakfast of Bonnies have to be very, very happy that we got this weather. The stations I listened to kept using the word dusting to describe the snow we were going to get. They were about as wrong as a lot of my picks are. Getting this, we've got a sloppy track, we've got the weather conditions, but that is what it is.
More of a dumping than a dusting. We're getting,
it's the racetrack. There's a lot of that going on.
Got Oaklawn for you as well out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Their weather a lot nicer on this Sunday afternoon. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to everybody as well. The third race, $16,000 claiming sprint at 6 furlongs. And Lachita at 5-2. Girls a bullet, the 4, 3-1 in the remaining half of the entry, taking money as well.
I don't know. Joel Rosario at 5-2. This horse supposed to be dead on the board. I don't think we've seen him at this big a price recently. And Lachita seems to be the controlling speed. Now, claimed for $15,000 by Steve Asmussen, comes back at roughly that level. Looks like the speed with Asmussen. I thought she looked like just the way the horse to beat in this race, Greg.
You go figure. They overbet these connections seemingly every time out, and then when the horse should be the favorite, the horse floats up
right?
to a decent price. I'm with you. This horse looks very, very tough, right? And there's the one Joel will be aboard. There he is. For Asmussen, off the claim. 7 times, first or second in 17 starts, and has that speed in her back pocket.
Yeah, I thought that really made a difference. I mean, I understand the credentials of the one, Oshishi. Seems to make some sense. Comes off the claim for Wayne Potts. He has had some success at Oaklawn. He's hit the board with 40% of his starters, and he is a decent claiming trainer. So I guess that horse makes some sense. And the truth of Lachita is she's not that fast. But I think the fact that she has that early speed, and she figures to be in front or stalking the overmatched 5, Take Charge Erica, who to me is taking a surprising amount of money, makes her tough. I guess a wild card maybe could be the 4, Girls a Bullet. Rider change on this horse, second off a little bit of a layoff.
So as we look a little deeper at this race, there's actually a lot of ways to go in here, it seems like.
Well, I mean, the 2 could win Sophie's Angel, right? Off the claim for Robertino Diodoro, not taking a lot of money. I wonder if this horse isn't taking money because it's not a normal rider for Diodoro, not David Cohen, who you see on so many horses, or Vasquez.
Yeah, the Gary Stevens angle. Tiago Pereira will be aboard. One of a couple of riders that Gary's representing at the meet.
Gary getting that Robertino Diodoro barn. That's a
good one to have.
Great in to have, no doubt.
It's a 10-time winner from the rail. 7-year-old mare, the 2, who's at 9-2. And, as for Shioshi, last couple of starts has taken a big move forward from the previous couple. But, yeah, has some races back there, too, that ran 70 buyer figures. Easy to see why this 5-year-old mare is taking money.
Wayne Potts obviously wins races at a relatively high percentage, or reasonably higher percentage, really probably than the guy he claimed this horse from. But does it concern you at all when you claim a horse away from a trainer that seems to be doing really well with the horse? You know what I mean?
No, it's a good point. But it seems like this one has run for several connections.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's surprising she's taken money. I like the speed of the number 7, and I can understand Lachita's race. Her speed figures are nothing to write home about, but I thought off the Asmussen claim with Joel Rosario, this horse would probably be favored. He just seems to be favored on everything.
I was waiting, and it never came for your once-a-show Tom Amos dig.
Do we have a chance to make fun of him, and I missed it?
Well, she won for Tom Amos, Shioshi the 1.
So she could win for anybody? Is that what you were expecting me to say?
I thought that was coming, but have you become a better person?
No. Don't be ridiculous.
Or now you just changed me, and
At
I'm going to
least you
start
got your
piling in on
stupidest
Tom.
comment of the show out of the way early, Greg.
Girls a Bullet stepping in. John Court, another one who potentially has a shot in this race. This 3rd from Oaklawn. Decent race here coming up for 16 claiming company. Vic Stauffer with the call.
And War Ballot. They're off. Tick Charge Erica wins the break, goes to the front from Lachita away in second. Courtly and Shioshi with Girls a Bullet and Sophie's Angel on heels at the rail. Then Mongolian Lotus and the trailer is War Ballad. Match racing up the backstretch and going fast. Tick Charge Erica, half length in front of Lachita in second. These two have sprinted 2.5 clear of Girls a Bullet, a 3-wide Shioshi and Courtly at the rail. Sophie's Angel will have to negotiate traffic. She's 4 from the front with Mongolian Lotus just outside of her, and the trailer is War Ballad, and the leader is Take Charge Erica, but just by a head from Lachita. Here comes Shioshi moving strongly in the center of the racetrack, and Shioshi is making a bid for the lead. 2 back to Mongolian Lotus, top of the stretch, and the leader is Lachita, but Shioshi's on the move. Take Charge Erica's back to third, 2.5 to Mongolian Lotus. Girls a Bullet is next, final furlong, Lachita. Take Charge Erica is battling on bravely from the inside. Now Girls a Bullet becomes a threat in the center of the racetrack. Lachita, Take Charge Erica, Girls a Bullet, these 3 to the wire. Take Charge Erica, Lachita, these 2. Take Charge Erica, Lachita, Take Charge Erica. Boy, she is something. I think Take Charge Erica just beat Lachita and Girls a Bullet.
Vic Stauffer believes it was the inside, the 5 with Christian Torres. Take Charge Erica, 3 of them right there at the wire.
Yeah, I mean, it really felt like Joel Rosario had the measure of Take Charge Erica. He barely even started riding this horse until maybe the 8th pole. Take Charge Erica, though, she never was giving up. Big outside run from the 4 Girls a Bullet, who we mentioned before. She made a run. They were heads bobbing at the wire, but let's take a look. Feels like the inside got it.
I'll trust Vic Stauffer and Joel. In between horses, 61-year-old John Court on the outside, making a big late run with the 4 Girls a Bullet.
I wonder if Lachita is a horse you almost have to ride that way, because he really was sitting chilly on her.
Seemed like it.
For almost the whole race.
Well, we'll get back to that, and Vic's usually pretty on the ball, so we'll see if it was Take Charge Erica there. Meanwhile, pick 4 coming up next here in New York. 52,000 plus and growing in the pool. Cool conditions. I'm glad we're not a rider.
Not a good day to be a rider. Yeah, it's definitely. It's amazing. It was spring yesterday, and it's back into winter today. And the races are tricky today. Somebody asked me if the rail was good, and the horse moved up on the inside earlier in the day, and I said I didn't really think it was anything there. And the last race looked like the rail was dead. I have no idea what's going on out there right now.
Well, this feature, it is the 8th on the card. You have the 2 Kept Waiting, who just ran very big last time out in the dirt debut. And then Breakfast at Bonnie's took a massive move forward. I mean, this kind of number, if she can keep repeating, this puts her in a whole different level of company.
I agree, but the difference between this race we're looking at here and today's race is the abundance of speed signed on. Not only does Time Limit have some speed, but Sadie Lady only has one way to go. And you know Kendrick Carmouche is going with Sadie Lady. So Breakfast Bonnie is going to have to deal with that one on the front end. And while she runs well on wet tracks, she also runs better when she can control on the front end. And on paper, that's not likely to happen today.
But at least, or you feel a little bit better about it that she has the outside post?
Well, I'll be betting against her, so I don't feel better about it. But if I was, yes, I would prefer to have the outside. I agree.
Working sharp coming in for this one. That is the Broadway. More coming up, and a good feature on a couple of fillies who were on the Kentucky Oaks path last year, with more on this afternoon coming up from Hot Springs. Let's check in with Hall of Famer Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, the slogan here at Oaklawn Park is where the sun is always out, and it's out right now. Big change from yesterday. Temperatures last night dropped down into the 20s. They delayed training. They sent out an email last night, I text, that they were going to delay training till 9 o'clock this morning and be able to train till 10:30. About 8 o'clock this morning, because of the icy conditions, they said the track would be closed for training. We got a perfectly fast track right now. The wind's blowing about 15 miles an hour, headwind down the backstretch. So beautiful conditions for our coming races. I have a lot of fun today recapping yesterday's Bayakoa and the Razorback yesterday. 2 great races, outstanding performances by both horses. We're going to recap that for you later on. Our feature race today is Fillies and Mares, optional claimer, allowance going around the ground, 8 horses, so competitive group. And enjoy your racing. Happy Super Bowl, guys.
Yeah, to you as well, Gary. We're going to be talking about a historic wager made in this Super Bowl this year, with Mattress Mac coming up a little bit later on the program, and talk to him about his run happies as well, are having so much success. That feature later today. We will get to it later in the card, but two fillies, again, who were on that Oaks Trail last year. Brad Cox and Steve Asmussen trainees going head-to-head in that one. Look at today's races presented by Claiborne Farm. Broadway Stakes, we talked about our feature in the 8th, in the sloppy going with the snow today. And in Hot Springs, they are fast, despite the cool weather, as Gary told us about. Race 5 kicks off the late pick 5, and that 8th race is the feature. You can play all the action by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Go to NairaBets.com, download the Naira Bets app, and get a $200 deposit match bonus at sign up when you punch in the secret code, which is right there, bonus 200.
It's a secret word. We're going to give it out.
We're going to take a timeout. We'll return. A lot of work left to do still today for Kendrick Carmouche, and he's going to be aboard the aforementioned Sadie Lady, one of several with speed in that feature later today. Kendrick having a terrific meet and looking to keep things going in the right way. We'll be back.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of emerging sire of sires, Dubawi, standing in Kentucky. His picture-perfect pedigree includes 10 Grade 1 winners under the first 3 dams. Dubawi and his sons and grandsons at stud have established stars on both turf and dirt. Now his first foals have arrived. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us for the Sunday program here in New York at Aqueduct and from Oaklawn Park. This 6th race starts the late pick 4, 35,000 claiming racehorses who have not won 3 lifetime. Going a 1-turn mile coming up. 9-5 favorite, Peruvian Boy, who has been claimed each of his last 2 starts. He's now with Jeffrey Englehart. Let's welcome in for the first time on the program today, Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Greg. And yes, Peruvian Boy, likely to get claimed here once again, is your favorite, but going to take a look at a horse to his inside. That is number 4, Roman Empire, fresh off the claim for trainer Michelle Giangiulio, and a horse that just did not look particularly good in his previous efforts, just from the coat and weight perspective. You know, his coat was very dry and dull, and that is not typical of a Todd Pletcher trainee. And it looks as though Michelle, who does a great job with the way that her horses come over here, looking at them from that health point of view and conditioning perspective, doing better. You know, I don't love him because I just don't know ultimately how good he is. But I will say that his coat has that shine, that healthy richness to it, and his weight's kind of put been put back on. I wish he was striding out maybe a little bit better, a little bit more enthusiasm here in the paddock in his demeanor, but physically a step up from his last two efforts here at the Big A. Moving on to the inside, number 1, Royal Number. Really interesting. I don't know if we can get a close-up, guys, of his face, because he actually has a blue eye on his right side. Just an interesting marking, nothing to really do with how he's going to run today, but just a unique looking horse. I thought he would be cool to look at. But he does get that drop in class. Last time out at Laurel, kind of was close to a pace that came back a bit, and he was down on the inside. Just not a very good place to be down at Laurel, I think. Now, he's going to have to refine some of his better form, but in against these horses and offered for the tag here, lowest claiming price he'll run for, he looks very good amongst these, shipping up here from Laurel for Mike Trombetta. So, and 2, I like the 1-turn mile form. I think that is probably his optimal distance, as we'll check in with number 6, Opt for Bobby Robato. I think he was a bit against the racetrack last time. He was kind of really well back, where My First Grammy, he wasn't on the lead, but he scooted up the rail, and Opt was kind of wide, the 2 to 3 wide the entire way, and kind of clunked up for second when he went back down to the inside. But Opt is a horse that I've always liked, but 2, because he does have more confirmed turf form, I like the fact that he gets a sloppy sealed track today. I think he might appreciate the going. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. Post parade's coming up shortly. We're approaching the 5-minute mark to post here for this 6th race, the start of the pick 4. And it's still 9-5 on Peruvian Boy.
Yeah, I get Peruvian Boy. I think he's certainly a logical horse in this race. Comes out of a much tougher race. Glory Road, Geocare, probably better horses than these, leaving them in. I don't really have much to say. The only thing I'll say is that he's 2 for 29 with 7 seconds and 7 thirds. So we're talking about a horse that a lot of short prices in his running lines, and he just doesn't really get the job done. Doesn't mean he can't win, but not the kind of horse I'd take on top in this race. I prefer the 3 Famished.
Yeah, and there he is. This horse was in a much tougher spot than anybody in this field last time out, and with the exception of 2 starts back, 3 starts back, for the most part in his whole career, he's been in tougher spots.
Yeah, he really has, and the last race was a race where he was badly overmatched. The race we're showing, what we didn't really, or maybe you noticed, was that Famished was throwing his head at the start, and that's not him. I don't know. You might notice there are a few more horses in that particular race than the one we just looked at. Having said that, he was breaking from the far outside. He turned his head in the gate, and just as they broke, it's just one of those things. And he broke way behind the field, and he also was well wide on a day the rail's place to be, and that's his race 2 back. Last time out, he had no chance that day. Those horses are stakes horses, honestly, and he had no chance in that field. He also could be the speed in this race, the scratch of the 7, and I'm going to be optimistic and hope he has a chance to lead him on a merry chase.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the storylines of this race, with the 7 gone, who is clear-cut going to be in front. Famished, he's not usually in front, but he was right up near the lead last time. So you expect to see them again there today?
Well, you know, 2 back he wasn't because he broke so badly. Otherwise, he's a horse who can be very forward, especially in a race like this. I mean, Royal Number, the 1, might have the 2nd most speed in this race behind him if you look at how quickly they can run early. I mean, Roman Emperor could be a little, but most of the time he's farther back. A lot of times it comes down to how they're ridden, but I would like to think that Famished breaks cleanly, and you would think that Eric Cancel and his trainer Jimmy Ferraro will look to be forward with him.
There's Jose Gomez, the apprentice we talk so much about on this program. He's having a terrific start to his young career. He'll be on the 9-5 favorite. Let's bring in Jonathan Kinchin as we get set for the start of this pick 4 coming up. JK.
Yeah, look, I signed a contract to not play horses off of Mike Maker, so the 5 Peruvian Boy, although could absolutely win, is just a hard one for me to lean on because leaving the Maker barn is not something I typically try to expect these horses to run as well, if not better. No offense to the new connections, it's just kind of a thing in my head. So I thought the 4 Roman Empire, I thought Maggie made a couple of good points about how the horse looked prior, and obviously no one's questioning Todd Pletcher's ability as a Hall of Famer, but you know, look, sometimes some of these lower level types that's not what Todd and Chad and a lot of these guys are in the business for. They're in the business for the big horses, and their owners are in the business for the big horses. And a lot of times when horses realize they're not going to be that, they put them where they can win, where they can be competitive. And trainers that maybe are in the business of still trying to make a name for themselves will take the time to do the things that are necessary to kind of get some of these lower level horses into the winner's circle. And this is a perfect example of how that could be the case. So I'm expecting the 4 Roman Empire to run better, ran well enough last time, and I'm hopeful that Roman Empire will run better because, to be fair, there's not a whole lot of horses in here that I'm dying to bet.
Here's Royal Number coming in from Maryland.
Believe it or not, this horse could be a bit forwardly placed. Mike Trombetta is certainly a dangerous trainer, and maybe he moves forward.
Only one horse with a win on an off track, and it came in the dirt debut for the 2.
Yeah, tough to take a horse claimed away from Rob Atras, though.
7-2 on Famish with the big drop down in class.
I've already made my case for him. I'm hoping he can lead these on a merry chase.
Jose Lezcano on Roman Empire getting the big warm-up.
Michelle Giangiulio's horses have been running very well, but it's not like they're moving up from their PPs. And while he can win, this was claimed away from Todd Pletcher. Not an easy thing to do.
Peruvian Boy still favored with Jose Gomez, the apprentice.
I totally get it. He has the best race in here, but he's 2 for 29 with 14 seconds and thirds.
And Opt, Dylan Davis, distant second at this condition last start.
Yeah, you know, he's never won on the dirt. He has run some faster races. He spent at least half the race on the good rail last time out before angling out. I guess he's not impossible. And, you know, listen, he has a good outside post. I don't have a strong opinion on anybody in this race. I'd be surprised if the 2 won. I'm not going to fall out of my chair if any of the others win.
So a minute to post here coming up. So there is the 2 again. We've talked about Ailsa Morrison. She's made a nice impression here coming to New York. The only one who's won on an off track. It was the first time on dirt. And I know you don't like this horse, but could you see the horse moving forward off that dirt debut?
No, not a chance. You're going from a trainer that wins in a mid to lower 20s percentage. That's very good with first time with horses, etc. To a trainer who's 0 for 36 last.
But it was only 10 days ago.
Right. Okay. This horse runs the race he ran last time. I don't think he can possibly win. He met a terrible field of non-winners of 2 lifetimes. He's the only horse that showed up. What was basically the Horse EB Victory built is one of those, 1 for a million horses. And there were 2 or 3 other drop downs in the race. None of them showed up and ran a step in there. I think it was a dramatically subpar field. And it's not easy to go from a non-winners of 2 lifetime to win that and then win your non-winners of 3 lifetime in the next start. Listen, it's the racetrack. I've seen it all happen, and I've had plenty of bad opinions. But somebody wants to bet him at 9-1, be my guest. I would book him long before I bet him, though.
Meanwhile, next door, Famished. We talked about the big drop down in here. Eric Hensel will be aboard. With more, let's go to Maggie.
And right, he does have the excuse when dropped to this similar type of level of not getting out of the gate. Now, he has run okay. For instance, that start 2 back over a sloppy sealed racetrack. He does, this is just something I've noticed with this horse, that he actually wears, so horses, to prevent them from what we call running down, they wear felt patches on their back of their fetlocks, typically behind. So it prevents the abrasion that happens with the horse's fetlocks and the dirt. They also will be applied if a horse has the propensity to cut into themselves, to overreach, and sometimes you'll see it on their hocks. But Famished wears it in a place where I don't see many horses wearing felt patches. He wears it on the inside of, right below his knee, so where a horse's high suspensory is. And he's worn it with John Kimmel, and now he still wears it with trainer Jimmy Ferraro. I don't know what it exactly means, but sometimes if a horse maybe has issues with soft tissue, a wet track is not the best surface for them. He looks great otherwise. I have no problems with it, but it's just something unique that I've noticed with Famish. But Greg, as you pointed out, the warm-up with Roman Empire, wow, he got over this track really nicely. And I know it's tough to take off Todd Pletcher, and Michelle is only 1 for 9 first off the claim, but I really like the way this horse has moved forward in her tutelage.
9-2 right now in Roman Empire. Thanks, Maggie. Want to remind everyone you can get all the stats on the horses, trainers, and jockeys. Follow along with today's action with free Equibase past performances. Go to NYRA.com/TV schedule. to download your free PPs on all the races on today's program. Pick 4 starts here. And throughout the wagering, it's been Peruvian Boy the 5, the favorite, now 8-5 on the board. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin filling in for John Imbrial today with the call.
Two out. Peruvian Boy. Opt to the outside. All in line. All set. And they're up. Speed from in between horses there is Famished. Also in the early mix will be Roman Empire. Out wider, that's Opt. Room at the rail here for Tale of Mineshaft and Royal Number. Easy lead here as nobody really wants the front right now. It's going to be Famished with a nose in front. Roman Empire with mild pressure up on the outside as they come out of the chute. The rail is open here for Royal Number, who might scoot on through and challenge these leaders as they really back off the pace. Peruvian Boy has now secured the third spot. Is 3 wide now. Royal Number is going to tuck in behind the leading trio. That one's followed by Tale of Mineshaft and Op, but 2 lengths would cover them all as they are bunched up here up the backstretch. It's Famished, Eric Hensel, a neck in front. Patiently ridden right there to the outside as Roman Empire is stalking into the 2-path with a 3 wide Peruvian Boy. Very tight hold. Royal Number has nowhere to go. Opt with a wide rally, and now the trailer is Tale of Mineshaft. They went 24 and 1 for that opening quarter mile, and they really backed it off. 49.33, a half-mile time into the far turn. Famished kicks on. In between horses still is Roman Empire, and a wide rally here from Peruvian Boy. Nowhere to go for Royal Number. Is bottled up in behind horses, has no room. Here comes a big rally from Tale of Mineshaft. Gets the run, is going to circle out wide, and Royal Number is going to try and beat Tale of Mineshaft to that spot as they approach the quarter-mile pole. Kicking on is Peruvian Boy to the outside of Famished, and now Royal Number is in the clear, and here comes Royal Number now motoring down the center of the racetrack. Royal Number to the outside of Peruvian Boy, who tries to come on back. Famished is back to third with an 8th to go. Royal Number is kicked on. Peruvian Boy is not done. Comes on back to the inside. Royal Number is trying to put away a stubborn Peruvian Boy. Royal Number, Peruvian Boy, gonna be tight at the line. Royal Number, Peruvian Boy in a photo. Tight photo, 2 noses on the line. Peruvian Boy did come back. It's 2 noses on the line between Peruvian Boy and Royal Number in a photo in today's 6th. Running time, 1 minute 39.61 seconds.
Well, the Blue-Eyed Wonder looked like he had it, but then all of a sudden the favorite battled back Peruvian Boy. This one turns out to be very close.
Not a lot of 2 for 29s with 7 seconds and thirds battle back too often. And he may have gotten up. I'd have to see the slow-mo. I don't know. It's very hard to tell at that point. He got it after the wire, so it looks like he got it before. I don't know. I certainly can't tell on this angle. But, boy, it felt like Royal Number, Trevor McCarthy, angled out, perfect trip, got there, and he didn't get there. It's
all the momentum at this point.
Hanging.
But then Peruvian Boy just battles back.
Tough to hang to a horse that never wins either.
Oof. 2 for 29 with the 5, who, despite that record, was a 7-5 favorite.
I think the 1 won it, but I don't know. I don't know, man. This one is tough. You know, with Famished, I think you probably, as the days worn on, the inside is the best place to be. There's nothing Eric Hansel could do, but I think getting mired down there is nothing he could do. Probably didn't help him, but he probably would have been no better than third regardless.
Trevor McCarthy outside on the 1. The apprentice Jose Gomez inside on Peruvian Boy, 5-1 or 7-5 if it's the inside runner.
Well, or it could be both. It felt like the 1 was in the process of losing the bob. I'm just not sure he lost it in time. It would be funny for the 5 to win a photo like this. You know, I said to you, I got him home right at the 16th pole. I said, I don't think Peruvian Boy is coming back on anybody because he always runs second and third,
14
right?
times second or third in 29 career starts.
Yeah.
And maybe today the day where he does battle back.
Yeah, the 5 got it.
And he did today. That's just been posted. Peruvian Boy, wow, what a tough beat for Royal Number.
You bet the 1. That's a tough beat.
5-1, 3-2. And Jose Gomez continuing to impress and win races.
Nothing not to like. I mean, he's, you know, every winter there's an apprentice that does well. And sometimes you look and you think, he's doing well or she's doing well because the competition isn't tough. I don't think that's the case with Jorge Gomez, and I think you agree, Greg.
No, he's got a pretty good one mentoring him in Hall of Famer Angel Cordero. And he is listening to those lessons. 7-5 favorite. Starts off the pick 4. We'll have those prices coming up. We get back to Oaklawn, race 4. 6 furlong sprint, an allowance optional claiming field for state-bred companies. We look at Reef's Destiny.
Yeah, this one does get a rider switch to John Court. See if that moves up a horse that just looks a little slow on paper.
And John Court having a terrific meet. Skyped the 2, 31-1.
Will he be phoning it in, Greg? I can't help myself. I'm sorry.
That was well done, Andy. Tempt Fate. Carl DeVille just claimed, I'm sorry.
No.
Placed first via DQ last start after being looked like a beaten favorite.
Torres' last race is not an aberration. He's run some fast races before.
6 for 9 at this track. Bandit Point.
He ran very fast 2 back. The question is, where did it come from? I guess the last race, though, last race was against much tougher opens, though.
And it came from 10th. KJ's Nobility, 7-1.
Came from 9th. Wise guy. If he could find his previous form, he could win it, but he is second off of a 9-month layoff, so possible.
Blame JD. Aiden Green had a breakout meet last year.
He's one of these horses that has that one number, right? He's another horse, though, second off a layoff.
Yeah, won the Rainbow Stakes last year. Garhole ran huge last start for John Ortiz.
You told me before the race Garhole's going to win, and boy, were you right. And he absolutely galloped in there. Competition's tougher, but he looked good.
Can he back it up again? Got an 86 buyer in the win. Here's Dinner at Crumpy's.
He's going to have to improve dramatically.
And J.E.'s hand-me-down, 32-1 outside.
Off the claim for Aiden Green, ditto and has to improve, but not quite as much as Dinner at Crumpy's does.
Ricardo Santana Jr., he's the leading rider at the meet, and he's on the even money favorite here coming up. With more on Ricardo, let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, he's already got a winner on the card. Won the first race today, and I'll tell you what's going on with Ricardo Santana and the jockey standings. He's not Steve Asmussen's #1 jockey here at this meet. That would be Joel Rosario. So what that's done is provided him with the opportunity to ride for other top trainers and a lot of smaller trainers with good horses. In this case, it's John Ortiz, who's hit a good strike rate, having a very good meet here. Would not be surprised to see Garhole win again at even money. So there you have it, guys. He's 3 in front of Francisco Arrieta right now. Joel Rosario, he missed part of the meet, obviously, because he was injured, but he's got 11 winners right now, so creeping up the standings steadily right now, but he travels a lot. He's going to be missing a lot of days. So Ricardo's holding strong right now. Matter of fact, has opened up a little bit, minor league. He was behind Arrieta up until we had the break. They came into the startup with, I think they were tied, and now he's got that 3-lead advantage, guys.
Well, Gary, thanks. I mean, we talked a lot about it when we started this meet. It seemed like the big breakup, which it really wasn't. Just he wasn't the exclusive rider for Steve Asmussen, and this could open up a lot of new opportunities for him.
I agree. Now, obviously, he has won very big race for Steve Asmussen, and I'm sure Ricardo will be the first to say that he owes a great deal to Steve Asmussen for success. But Steve should also say it's worked out well for him riding Ricardo, because he's ridden very, very well. And when Steve comes to Saratoga, he can get the good riders, but he always knew he was getting a guy who's a solid, strong, capable, reliable rider. And as you say, getting these opportunities to ride for other people, a lot of times people probably say, well, I'm not even going to bother because I can't get Ricardo because Steve will have one in that race. And now it opens him up to ride some horses for other people, and it can't hurt his career, I don't think, to branch out. So, like I said, we said this before, I think we're all rooting to see him do well.
Yeah.
He had just a ridiculously rough fall, and you root for people who you know are capable. You see it with athletes all the time. Whatever sport, right? And you know they're going through a tough time, whatever it is. You don't know specifically what it is, whatever it is, you like to see them turn it back around.
No, and now atop the standings again. He's won 9 of the last 10 riding titles in Hot Springs, and again in the top spot now.
Also, Joel is not going to ride there enough probably to win it. He's in Fairgrounds next Saturday. He's going to be going enough places that probably with a consistent riding there, and he's got to make almost 20 wins on him already. It's not going to be easy there.
Well, JK here, Ricardo on the 3-5 favorite. Are you a believer in that maiden or that?
I am, Wolfie. Look, for me, this is a race between the 3 and the 7, the 3 Tempt Fate and the 7 Garhole. But Garhole's getting Lasix. You get Ricardo. You're drawn outside. Was faster last time. And I understand the price differential, but I think Garhole the odds are right. Garhole is that much more likely to win. And I want to just jump on the back of what you guys are saying. And this is no offense to Steve Asmussen, obviously, but I think it's pretty cool that Ricardo has still found himself atop the leader, the standings and the rider standings there at Oaklawn. When I think a lot of people would say that, Ricardo won those titles because of the help of Steve. It's nice to see Ricardo having that success in the midst of whatever that is that they're working themselves through.
It's like Brady winning a Super Bowl without Belichick. To some degree.
No question about it. I'm sure Ricardo, it's very satisfying for him. But, let's also keep in mind, he had some huge wins with Steve Asmussen
question,
last
and
summer.
he wants to keep that barn in his corner.
Right. You don't want to suggest that it's Ricardo and not Steve. I mean, he needs the bullets to get it done.
We're not suggesting that by any means.
Right.
He's on the heavy favorite here. That's Garhole, the 7. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Tempt Fate and Reef's Destiny with Blame JD. These 3 are quickest. Garhole comes away in 4th. Then comes J.E.'s Hand-Me-Down and Dinner at Crumpy's with KJ's Nobility and Bandit Point, and a slow start has Skyped at the back of the pack. Blame JD quickest up the backstretch. He's a length and a half in front of Tempt Fate, who moves smartly into 2nd. Garhole is following him. He'll move into 3rd outside of Reef's Destiny at the rail. Then comes J.E.'s Hand-Me-Down, 5th with 4 lengths to make up, a length and a half to Dinner at Crumpy's and KJ's Nobility. Bandit Point has 12 lengths to make up, but he is starting to roll from the back of the pack, and the trailer is Skyped, and the leader is Tempt Fate just outside of Blame JD. Tempt Fate and Blame JD joined 3 deep by Garhole, and here comes Garhole confidently handled by Ricardo Santana Jr. Tempt Fate and Garhole come to the final furlong, and Garhole has run right by Tempt Fate and is now 2 lengths in front. Pass the torch in the Arkansas Breds here. It is Garhole, Tempt Fate, and Bandit Point. Garhole. Wow. Never let him run, and he won by 4. Tempt Fate was 2nd, Bandit Point 3rd. KJ's Nobility finished 4th.
109-4 final time, and Garhole did this as easy as could be. You see Ricardo Santana Jr. continually looking back.
We're not back in action until next Friday, Greg, so I think one of us or both of us need to do some research and find out who some of the best Arky breds were. Because I know this is just his 4th start, and I understand, but the 2nd horse, by the way, is capable of running to mid to high 80 buyers. This horse, a Sire Tecton, who you and I neither of us are familiar with, and a Fleet Alex Dam, it was a homebred by Shortleaf. The Sire stands for $1,000. This guy looks like $1 million on the racetrack. He's not just beating, sort of mediocre state breds. It's a good horse.
Is he going to be on this path now, the top sprint races at the meet?
Well, I think they have to look at what kind of
number
he gets, what numbers he gets, obviously. I don't know, is there an Arkansas bred sprint stake coming up? If there is, they'll be looking to scoop that pot. But, after they leave Oaklawn, he's going to have to do something. And he keeps running like this. It's a really neat horse.
Mattress Mac making history. We'll tell you all about it with the Super Bowl ahead. How much did he lay down and on what team? He joins the show and talk to us about Run Happy and some very special Sons of Run Happy as well right after this.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Sobovini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Magic's in front.
Nobody wants to fall into a safety net, but when adversity or hardship presents itself, it beats the alternative. Since 1943, the Jockey Club Safety Net Foundation has been serving those individuals and families in need across every facet of the thoroughbred industry. Help us continue to be the safety net and catch those most in need. Visit tjcfoundation.org to learn more.
We are back at America's Day at the Races, program presented by the champion sprinter, Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, and he's got one of the top contenders on the Triple Crown Trail right now as well. We're going to get into that coming up. Super Bowl, of course, later on this afternoon. I don't know if you're in the market for a mattress, sofa, or love seat, but now is the time at Gallery Furniture. We're going to bring in Jim Mattress Mac McInvale. Mac, great to have you on the program. As always, you have made history with what you have done in terms of placing the largest sports wager ever for the Super Bowl. Tell us about it.
Can't hear a thing. I can't hear you guys, but I'm out here in Houston. We got people behind me picking up furniture for this big promotion. If Cincinnati wins, they get their money back. And I bet $10 million on the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm looking forward to Andy and Greg to the day when you can bet $10 million on a horse race and not affect the odds. I bet $10 million, and I think the odds went from 170 to 160 for one day and then went right back up.
Matt, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, yeah, this historic bet, never one place this big in the history of sports. It's incredible. What made you decide to go with the Bengals?
Well, I went the Bengals real simple because the customers get their money back if the Bengals win. Lots of LSU fans in Houston, of course, that love Joe Burrow. And more importantly, just as importantly, when you bet the Bengals, you get plus 170. So 100 returns 270, whereas 200 on the Rams returns 300. So plus 170 was a big deciding factor.
So I have a question. You've got Smile Happy, the Run Happy, who is the favorite in next week's Risen Star, an exciting race. I know you've been betting him in the future wagers as well. Are you more excited about the Super Bowl overall or the prospect of a Run Happy potentially being favored in the Derby?
Yeah, we got lots of customers out here. I still can't hear you. Smile Happy running the Kentucky Derby. He runs it this coming week in the Risen Star at New Orleans at the Fairgrounds. Smile Happy doing very, very well. Number one horse in the Kentucky Derby pools. Of course, it helped that I contributed to him, but he's going to be the number one horse in the Risen Star next week. Hopefully he does very well. Got a great trainer in Kenny McPeak. Great ownership, and I'm very happy for Smile Happy. And Run Happy, I think, won 3 races yesterday. He's now number 5 on the sire list. Run Happy is running fast, and having more girlfriends than I ever dreamed about.
He's having an incredible year as second crop sire. Mac, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Good luck with your wager today. Good luck with Smile Happy on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Wish we could have got that sorted out.
Andy and Greg, nice to talk to you. I love horse racing.
Thanks a lot.
We love you and your support, Mac. Always great to have you on the program. So basically, doing this to help out his customers, too. If his bet wins, any sofas, mattresses, love seats bought get fully refunded from Gallery Furniture.
Well, you know, these types of promotions and things obviously have worked very well, and they're a great opportunity for people. But it's not just these things that he's known for in Houston. I mean, in situations where they had the hurricane and different situations, he has been there to reach out to the residents of Houston. I think people will remember these big bets and these promotions as they should, but they should also remember he's a man who's done an enormous amount of good for the people of Houston when most need it.
He's always been there for his community, no question. Quickly, let's talk about how you feel about Smile Happy. It's going to be his 3-year-old debut coming up next week in that Risen Star, but he's been super impressive his first 2 starts.
No, he has. I mean, there's nothing not to like about him. I think Zandon, the horse that we've talked about, who was second in our Remsen, probably should have been put up on a DQ, is his main competition. Horse on the outside that finished ahead of Messier. Looks dangerous, but Smile Happy's the horse to beat. And in that race, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm looking forward to the Risen Star next week for sure.
7th next here in New York. It's a New York bred first allowance condition race, 1-turn mile ahead. We'll have more on it coming up. OK Honey right now is the favorite. And Jimmy Jerkins, he certainly has a legendary pedigree in this sport. He's going to send out the 2, looking for the upset. Enters Sandwoman coming up in the 7th. And he's got Green Light Go, looking for some bigger purses to tackle this year as well. We'll be back.
Run Happy, the #1 second prop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Our program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. We have the 7th coming up next from New York. Jimmy Jerkins going to send out Enter Sandwoman. He, of course, has Green Light Go back in his barn. Green Light Go began his career with Jimmy Jerkins. He won the Grade 2 Saratoga Special. It seemed like sky's the limit. Got beat by Tiz the Law in the Champagne, and then he didn't really move on. And all of a sudden, now as a 5-year-old, he is back.
Well, in fairness, I'm sure it's extraordinarily satisfying for Jimmy Jerkins because he ran great for him. He loses the horse, and he ran okay, but he had no real success in other barns. And he gets back to Jimmy, and suddenly it looks like a horse that can be in the conversation for all sorts of races. He's going to go a mile in the Stymie. And before you say, oh, the Stymie, some bad horse, I can't remember his name. It's hard to pronounce. I don't think he ever wanted to do anything else. Won it 2 years ago, right? Or 3 years ago, or how many years ago? Right, a horse. Maybe it's a stepping stone for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Vito Rosso used it to start out his 4-year-old season, and he looks good, Green Light Go. And I imagine a good performance, and Jimmy has to consider cutting back the 7 furlong Grade 1 Carter in his next start. And that'll be 5 weeks away.
Exciting. This is a horse who showed so much potential, and he was really very mature for early on in his career. I actually picked him over Tiz Now in that Champagne.
Good call. I've had worse. Yeah, remember how exciting he was in his debut? He beat a Todd Pletcher horse that was favored in that race that they said was supposed to be Todd's best horse. Somebody can text me who it was. He ran, did he run third or he run nowhere? But he came back and turned out to be okay, I think. Who was third in that race, actually? Was it Fearless? I thought that Todd had a horse in there they loved. But anyway, I know Todd had a horse they loved. I thought he may have come back and turned into a good horse.
Well, what about Jerkins' runner here, Enter Sandwoman? Do you give any kind of shot?
I'm not limiting anybody from any races on this racetrack. And to me, the one OK Honey is just the best horse in the race. She runs a race, and going to Gustavo Rodriguez is not going to hurt her. I know she's got 5 wins and 10 second starts. She's okay. The interesting horse is Destination Winner's Circle, who I don't know what happened the stretch last time, but Dylan Davis basically eased her after she ducked in on a right-handed crop. I don't know. Tail of Sandwoman, not for me, or Enter Sandwoman, but on this racetrack, I'm not taking strong opinions.
With more, let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Taking a look at these horses in the paddock. We'll take a look at Enter Sandwoman. Sorry, I was just checking in with Charlie to see what happened, because we'll get to Destination Winner's Circle in a second, but I noticed it too, Andy. But Enter Sandwoman, she's a horse that I think is much more suited to at least a little bit more ground here. Mile, she's so tall, she's so leggy. And look, it's Jimmy Jerkins. I'm always going to like his horses. His horses just show up looking a lot of times better than the most, carrying great weight and conditioning and a great coat. But she's also a little bit sharper than what she was in her last start. So we'll see what she does here. And the problem is she hasn't run a good race over a wet track. And furthermore, she was with the track last time and was soundly beaten. But like I said, a little more distance, probably better for her. As we move on to number 1, OK Honey, there's just way too much to like about her. I mean, look, she's never a filly that or mare now, that I'm going to necessarily like in the paddock, in the flesh, because she's just not my cup of tea. I mean, she's a lighter frame filly, never looks good in her coat. But that's just her. That's been her forever. And I will say that she's striding out really nicely here. I love getting her back out to a 1-turn mile. I think this is her best trip. Maybe her record doesn't suggest that, but she just is built like that type. And as Andy said, there's just a lot to like about her. Blinkers coming off today. Now talking with Charlie about Destination Winner's Circle, once Dylan asked her with the crop, she kind of ducked in and then got to swish in her tail a lot. So a filly that really... And I remember her when she tried to make her debut going back to the fall of 2020. She got loose. She was always kind of a bad actor early on in her career. So she's a very finicky type. Now, Jorge Vargas will pick up the ride for the first time. I'm sure Charlie had some detailed instructions to give him. But look for him to use the crop sparingly, I would say, because she does seem to react negatively to it. She looks fine here, but there are others that I do prefer, at least from the physical sense of things. Greg?
Maggie, thanks. Riders up. As you see, we'll get to our post-parade here in a moment. The late pick 3 on the card coming up. Favorite remains inside. OK Honey moving to the barn of Gustavo Rodriguez, and the blinkers coming off for this 6-year-old mare who's 5 for 57 lifetime in her career.
Yeah, and I get all that. She was wide against a good rail last time. The winner rode the rail. Gustavo Rodriguez, since going out in his zone, his horses have been running very well, and her good races, I just think, are too good for these. And it's a field where it's hard to rely on anybody.
Is she going to be in front?
No, I think that Pendolino is going to be in front, and we'll see if she can go 4 for 47 after winning her 3rd start last time.
Here's the Jimmy Jerkins filly, Enter Sandwoman.
Yeah, and Maggie also pointed out, and I agree. I mean, this horse was on the right bar of the racetrack last time and did no running. I can't find a reason to like her. I looked.
Pendolino. Oscar Gomez rides.
You missed her at 40-1 against a weaker field. You're going to take 5-1 today? Good luck.
Voice of Spring, Linda Rice, Eric Cancel.
I've always liked this horse, and she is second off a layoff, so maybe she'll run better, but she was brutal last time.
6-year-old debut for Color Chart.
Well, she is a horse that's run some fast races in the past and can be forwardly placed at Finger Lakes. It's hard to know what to expect, and her last race in New York, her last 2, turf and dirt, were awful.
And no Destination Winner's Circle has only been there once in 10 starts.
I mean, she's sort of the wild card. I've always kind of liked her. It's hard to trust her after whatever it was, whatever goofy thing happened in the stretch last time. And the problem is, with her, I do think she's the second likeliest winner. But if OK Honey runs anywhere close to her better races, she's going to beat her.
Well, let's take a look at OK Honey back on September the 24th. This was a track labeled muddy at Belmont.
This was one of the most incredible prices in a 4-horse field that she paid $13.80. She literally had better speed figures than everybody in the field. There was a horrendous, it was extra effort, it was odds on in this race. I mean, she beat a horse like Buston Bay. Well, Buston Bay beat her last time with the benefit of the bias. When she runs her races, she beats these horses. And I just feel like off the claim for Gustavo Rodriguez, she probably rates to run her better race.
Jose Lezcano will be aboard. Jonathan, your thoughts on the favorite?
Yeah, look, I mean, I agree with Andy. I like the one OK Honey on the inside. I just wasn't. I'm not crazy about the rail in most situations. I just think a lot of things can happen negatively from down there if you don't have a ton of speed. If your horse kind of breaks slowly, OK Honey has broke slowly the last couple of starts, but from a speed figure standpoint, she just feels like the one that you want. I did the exact same thing with the 2 Enter Sandwoman. I wanted to make a case to find a reason that Enter Sandwoman would run that race that she ran 3 back, and I simply couldn't find it. So she had to be a play against for me. And the rest of them I just didn't think were quite good enough. I believe if OK Honey can somehow work out a good trip, she'll be the winner. And word on the streets, Maggie likes her too. So I'm probably going to hurry up and stop talking so I can get on my Naira Bets account.
JK, I think in this race, it's kind of process of elimination. There's just more things to like about OK Honey than there were more things to like about anybody else. And I think there were more negatives with a lot of the other horses in here. So we'll take a look at Voice of Spring, whom I'm kind of with the same boat with Andy in that I've liked her. And I like her from a different perspective in that she's just this big, beautiful daughter of commissioner, always presents herself well prior to her races. And I thought despite, sometimes not looking that fit going back, historically speaking, she looked very fit last time. And I do think, Jose Lezcano kept her out in the middle of the racetrack, and I don't think that was necessarily what you wanted to do on that track, which that race wired by Mashni Girl. But she, at least based upon her previous form, despises a wet track. And Linda Rice has said that to me. She said that again here in the paddock. So I don't know how you can fully trust her on this type of racetrack. So that's just another negative for another horse that could be a logical contender, Greg.
5-1, so a few positives here for Voice of Spring. Can she turn things around from that last out effort?
Listen, this is a horse that was pretty good because I know she won. Broker made with a 71 buyer, which makes her a real player. She got a great trip and setup that day. Having said that, even though her races are slower before that, she had some awful trips in those races. So I always thought she could be okay. I just wish she had done some running last time out.
2 efforts on off tracks is not giving you anything really positive to think she's going to run good here. We'll see. 9-2. Meanwhile, OK Honey, 4-time winner on an off going. No 2 off tracks alike, though, but take it for what it's worth. Gustavo Rodriguez trying to win first off the claim with his 6-year-old mare by Haynesfield with Jose Lezcano. There's the 3 Pendolino moving in. 8-1 on the board.
8-1, 40-1 a week ago. 8-1 today. Tough game. If you had her last time, you could book like twice what you bet on her at 8-1 and still come out with a big profit.
Do you believe even money is what OK Honey should be in here?
Yes.
Really?
I actually do. I'm not running to bet her, but yeah, I think she should be even money or 6-5 in this race. To be honest, the competition is so weak. I feel like if she shows up, she'll win. You have to ask yourself what the proposition is.
Chris Griffin with the 7th here from Aqueduct. OK Honey on the rail.
And they're off. Pendolino hopped in the air at the start. Enter Sandwoman's got early speed. OK Honey. It's going to be Enter Sandwoman, who does drift out just a touch. There's color chart is going to range up now 3 wide. Pendolino is in very tight. Pendolino wants to poke on through. 4 across the racetrack as they get set to come out of the chute. OK Honey is trying to challenge for the lead and will take it. Enter Sandwoman is in the 2 path. Then Pendolino, who's now settled down. Tight hold here on color chart, who's back in the 4th spot. 2 more. Back to destination winner circle in the trailer. Voice of Spring. It's a pressured pace. It's OK Honey and Pendolino. They're now 1-2. Enter Sandwoman is dropped back here to the 3rd position with a wide color chart in 4th. Destination winner circle got from the far outside post, is now crossed over to the rail. Is saving ground, is about to challenge for the 3rd spot as they approach the half-mile pole. The trailer, Voice of Spring, 24-1. That opening quarter mile, they went 48 8 and 2 for a half-mile time. They work into that far turn. Pendolino is challenging right to the outside of OK Honey, who's got to come back from there. Pendolino with a nose in front. OK Honey is under a hand ride right now, is not done. These two are nose and nose as they approach the quarter-mile pole. Enter Sandwoman is fully extended there in the third spot. Destination Winner's Circle, that rally is stalling. To the outside is Color Chart. OK Honey. Pink Sleeves Q gets the cue to kick for home, and OK Honey immediately opens up. OK Honey puts a quick 2 on Pendolino, who's back to second. Enter Sandwoman, battles on Destination Winner's Circle from the back, Voice of Spring. But this is all OK Honey, just striding away. OK Honey, much the best in here. It's all OK Honey and Jose Lescano to win this one easily. Battle on here for second. It's going to be tight. Give it to Enter Sandwoman to the inside of Pendolino and Voice of Spring in 1 minute 41.11 seconds.
For a brief while, Pendolino trying to apply some pressure to OK Honey. In the end, it was no contest.
No, we talked about it. If she ran her race, she was going to beat these. And I think I've always liked this horse. This is just one of these weird horses that, you know, when she used to be with Greg DePrima, we used to talk about her, and he knew I was like her biggest fan. I think she won her third race in something like 40-something starts last year. She's always had some ability. She just has trouble being consistent. You look at this field, who was going to beat her?
First of all, you were completely wrong. I asked you, should she be even money? I actually thought she should have been 3 to 5. That's why I was asking you that question.
You were wrong. She should have been 1 to 5 the way she won today. You know, but I mean, listen, it's not. She won. She was even money. But handicapping is about figuring out horses that are better than the horse they run against. Not necessarily that they're really good horses. She was in against a field she couldn't lose to if she showed up. And showed up, she did.
1, 2, 3, 4. OK Honey at even money, completely dominant. And you were right. Deserved to be that price. Should have been even shorter.
Tough beat for Pendolino for second. Did all the dirty work. Pendolino in rare form.
A couple of 8-to-1s in second and third, but OK Honey dominant. Feature next. That's the Broadway. And we'll see if Breakfast at Bonnie's can back up that monster performance to end her 2021 campaign. That is coming up next. We'll talk Triple Crown Trail when we come back. Classic Causeway Gate to Wire score to kick off his 3-year-old campaign in the Sam F. Davis and continue on the road to the Kentucky Derby.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple Grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal-bred.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Union Rags, proving Lane's End's tried and true stallion-making formula. A formula that leads to success for our partners and our stallions. He's a leader in his sire crop by graded stakes winners and Grade 1 winners. He's a commercial standout with multiple million-dollar sales and a 6-figure yearling average. And with 4 full books bred at 50 and 60,000, he has even more exciting progeny in the pipeline. Union Rags, a stallion that stands above the rest.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. OK Honey, dominant here in the 7th at Aqueduct. Gustavo Rodriguez off the claim, Jose Lezcano.
When you're an even money shot, you just got to make sure you try not to make any mistakes. And Jose did a very good job. She didn't break that sharply. But I almost wonder if the two may have come in. I couldn't really tell from the pan. But Jose, what he did really well, and in this particular case, I really like the shot that we showed on our not the pan. She was way off the rail the whole way, and I think that was Jose's intent. If I can keep her off the rail, she'll be fine. It does appear that you want to be outside as the day's gone on. And when you're riding a horse like her, you want to at least make sure you don't get in a situation that might be problematic.
$4.30 for the win. And even money here. 1, 2, 3 finish in this 7th. Pick 3, only $48.
Yeah. Well, is that value? Is that for $1?
For $1, yeah.
Actually, it wasn't that bad. For twice the parlay.
Brew Pub, Peruvian Boy, OK Honey, 2 legs remain, including the feature the Broadway next.
Brew Pub was a sort of surprising second choice in race number 5.
Got the late pick 5 at Oaklawn starting next in this 5th race. 6 furlong sprint, $12,000 maiden claiming race. And it's a fascinating race because you have a horse who is 0 for 9, who is the speed of the race, seems like dominant in here, but just does not win. We'll get to him in a moment. We start with Remember Normandy.
Yeah, well, I remember Normandy Invasion, not Normandy itself, and this is one that'll have to improve. His cutting back from a route to a sprint.
If there is an upset, maybe the 2. This horse facing better at Canterbury, which is not necessarily better.
No knock on Canterbury, but the shippers there from there have not been doing well.
Big Pete, actually getting back to sprinting, I thought intriguing.
Yeah, and the trainer actually has decent numbers cutting back in distance. A new trainer, though. We'll see.
31-1 on Harry's. Never hit the board in 12 starts, and here's Blues Tune.
Blues Tune's another one that gets a wet, dry track for the first time, for what that's worth. And a new gelding.
Drops to lowest level by far
not
he's ever been at.
As a second horse.
So here's the big favorite. So even money on Abdan, but could not last at 1-5 for Diodoro last start.
Yeah, I don't know how this horse lost last time out. Claim from Diodoro. He can't lose on paper, but that's probably not the first time it's been said about him.
Tango Kilo, been off since February of 2021.
Tough to bet horses off long layups, but the last race is fast enough to at least be the second likeliest winner.
Outcome, blinkers come off, a horse with some speed.
That's about it.
Drops from 30 to 12.5. My kind of Teton.
I don't know what your kind of Teton is, but this one isn't mine.
3 starts, has done very little running. And then time for a Woodford. The only dirt start, it was on a race taken off the turf and a maiden special intended for the grass, and did not run much.
There's very little to like about him, but to me, he is the second likeliest winner because he's a new face and an oddball in here. He's the fuzzy.
The 11, Doc's Biz, Randy Morse.
Yeah, I mean, he's just slow.
Lowest level he's ever been at. And then the 12, Cat's Got a Chance.
Well, he was second at 3-2 in a 5-horse maiden $7,500 claimer at Will Rogers Downs. So if you want him here, be my guest.
Post time coming up. Race that kicks off this pick 5 and all the money on Abden. No one's scared away by that beat at 1-5 last time out for one of the premier barns on this circuit. Robertino Diodoro claimed out of that race, and now we'll try and win for the 3rd barn in his career. With more in this race, let's go to JK.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, on paper, it looks like the 6 can't lose. But, and look, I'm sure you guys are going to giggle on set when I say this. I have no problems betting a 4-5 shot. In fact, I enjoy it a majority of the time. But I have to believe it. And I don't quite believe it with this horse. It's just too sneaky. The horse was claimed for 10, gets time off, and then comes right back for basically the same level. It just feels a little sneaky to me. I'm going to end up going with the 2. Worth the money. Sometimes when I'm looking at races like this where there's these horses that are at this kind of bottom level, the maiden special weight droppers that have taken money are the ones that I typically lean on. Getting into some easier competition, not having to work so hard to get into position in races might give them a chance to actually kind of live up to some of the odds that they've been, and Worth the Money has been fairly short in maiden special weight races at Arlington Park and Canterbury, and that's good enough for me against this group.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about Worth the Money in here. And it's tough to, and there he is, the 2. It's tough to trust Abdan with what he's done so far.
It is tough to trust Abdan. I don't get Worth the Money, but I'm clearly in the minority. You think he's logical. Jonathan does, and he's a clear-cut second choice. I'm not taking this horse. I bet the little bit to win in the 10 and play the 6-10. I think that Time for Woodward's the interesting horse. Not sure what kind of horse he is. He's running against much, much better horses coming here with a new trainer, and I just would rather take him as the fuzzy. Because what I've seen of the ones that have run, good luck to him.
3 to 5. Abdan, he should be in front. He was basically at this similar level last start. It was here at Oaklawn, and couldn't hang on.
You know, after the race, I'm going to reveal the contest that Jonathan and I want to have in Saratoga to you. We've discussed it today, and he's game.
There's been a lot of buzz about this in the racing community.
I've stolen it from something they used to do in the Saratoga press box. We can discuss it if invariably we have a minute to kill. It may not happen, Greg, but if it does.
We'll see if that's to come. Nice tease. Abdan the 6th, the one to catch. The one to beat, the odds-on favorite. Can he get it done here in start number 10? Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Worth the Money broke beautifully and goes to the front from Abdan in second. Outcome is close up. Then comes Doc's Biz. Cat's Got a Chance and Harry behind horses. A gap of 3 back to Blues Tunes, My Kind of Teton, Big Pete, and A Time for a Woodford. Then Tango Kilo, and the trailer is Remember Normandy. It is Abdan and Outcome to the far turn. Abdan's a neck in front. Outcome is second by a length, 2. Worth the Money, who's in a tight spot at the rail. Harry is between horses. Cat's Got a Chance is 3 deep in 5th and 2.5 off the lead. Blues Tunes and Time for a Woodford have 6 lengths to make up. Then it's 4 back, 2. My Kind of Teton and Doc's Biz. Tango Kilo has 2 beat. They are Big Pete and Remember Normandy. And now we have a clear leader at the top of the stretch, and his name is Abdan. Abdan is getting away at the top of the lane. He's got a 3-length lead on Outcome and Worth the Money. Then to the outside and Harry and Cat's Got a Chance. Blues Tunes running on, but it's Abdan past mid-stretch, and he's got a winning lead. Abdan now 5 lengths in front. Outcome, Harry, and Worth the Money will battle for second, but it's Abdan dominating to the wire. Abdan in front. Abdan won by 8.5. It's an inch either way between Harry and Worth the Money for second. Outcome finished 4th.
Abdan gets a do-over at this condition after being beat at 1 to 5 for one of the best barns on the circuit, and does not disappoint.
Yes, he found his friends, as they say, and I don't think anybody shocked this horse won, but I'm not arguing with anybody, including myself, that bet against him. Not like Harry got second.
Did he get claimed?
I'm sure the connections are hoping he did. Where's he go from here?
Snow fallen, still in New York. The Broadway, the feature is next, and there's Breakfast at Bonnie's, just dominant last time out in the slop. 4-year-old debut, and got to deal with a whole lot of other speed in this test coming up. We'll be back right after this.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, he was the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring. Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Program brought to you where you can play it all. Naira Bets. Download the app. Go to nairabets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The dam of the favorite here in the Broadway also produced the winner of yesterday's Gander, a horse who is now undefeated, Baris for Mike Maker.
I did not know that. Is that the Breakfast of Bonnie's?
Yeah.
So the horse are full because they're both Lao bands. That's
Indeed.
Cool. Nice.
How about this? 3 for 3 wins off a 7.5-month layoff in the Rego Park. And then does it again in the Gander when it looked like Bold Journey was absolutely home free on the front end here.
But I'm going to say, I mean, this is why I usually say I'll wait to see the fig. I made a pronouncement after the race that Bold Journey stopped. Well, it does appear that he stopped, but in reality, Baris got an 87 buyer. Bold Journey got an 85 buyer, 1 point higher than his prior race. So the numbers said he didn't stop. Baris just kept on running and ran by him. So I'm going to say that that was a bad opinion of mine afterwards. I believe in the numbers, and I believe I was wrong about that. And Baris, he ran. Bold Journey ran fine. I don't say he's going to get better with more distance, but he ran his race. Baris just took a big step forward.
Dylan Davis, again, he said this is a horse who takes a little while to kind of get in gear, and he didn't break great. He also lost a shoe coming out of the gate, and he still is able to put up this performance.
It's twice in a row, actually, that he hasn't broken that well. I mean, horses do lose shoes. You know, I've talked to trainers about it. I've talked to Chad Brad about this. They will lose shoes and run fine, you know, because it's not as, you know, it's not a good thing, but it isn't necessarily a bad thing. But his issues at the gate are a bit of an issue. It's twice in a row. It hasn't cost him a race, but you want him to start breaking sharply.
Well, off this performance, and every right to do it, Connections are flirting with the idea of going to the Wood Memorial.
Who are the Tigers out there that you're supposed to be afraid of, that you're not supposed to at least be thinking high with these 3-year-olds right now? Who could blame them?
New York bred on the Triple Crown Trail after that performance. Well, his sister, Breakfast at Bonnie's, the 9-5 favorite here in the Broadway, our feature. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Well, one thing's for certain, the dam of these right prevails. She knows how to produce a winner, at least, though both of these horses kind of wanting to do different things, discussing Barise and Breakfast at Bonnie's. And they do look a lot alike from the physical sense. They're big, stretchy horses, but Breakfast at Bonnie's obviously a little bit more effeminate and just, you know, a little bit more refined looking. You wouldn't think she's as quick as she is looking at her, but she is, and she seems to do a rain dance, or this time a snow dance, every time she sees her name on the overnight, because once again, she gets a wet track for the 5th time in her career. She's 3 for 4 over it thus far. She gets that nice outside spot, and as Danny Gargan has said, you know, she doesn't need the lead per se, so she draws favorably. If other speed wants to go to her inside, that'd be a-okay, but she's a very classy acting individual. It's another thing similar to her brother, very laid back, takes everything in stride, so be really cool if both of these New York breds out of the dam right prevails do capture this weekend's stakes. As we'll move on to the other horse taking a lot of attention, and rightfully so. That's number 5, Time Limit. It doesn't really matter what she's running on. She does show up, or whatever racetrack she's running on, because in the last 3 months she has done a tour of the country. And some horses, this type of moving around, it agrees with them. I remember my husband telling me about a horse that obviously Godolphin owned, that he would run best when he shipped, i.e. on an airplane. So they would put him up in the air, fly him around, and then touch back down, even though he was taking off in the same place and landing in the same place, and he'd run his race. Obviously, we don't have those things at our disposal, but Time Limit, she has shipped around and has run well. I liked her last race in the What a Summer. She was a grinded out the effort, the win, and a determined effort to boot. And honestly, she looks better than what I had seen from her over the summer. And she was running well over the summer, but she looks great in her coat. Her weight's fantastic. And I think she is a formidable foe to Breakfast at Bonnie's as they kind of keep flip-flopping favoritism here, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. And a little surprising. Look, she ran lights out last time out. We're going to look at Time Limit here. But Breakfast at Bonnie's has some legitimate speed in the form of Sadie Lady. She's still the 8-5 favorite. Here's Time Limit. It could set up perfectly for her today.
That's the thing. I have a little trouble buying the figure, the 88 buyer this horse got, but she has gotten an 88 buyer before in sprint races 2 back. What I like about her, and I think you have to like about her, is that she's a speed horse, though she can rate. The fact that she's been successful rating in her last start is a real feather in her cap, because with Sadie Lady in here, Breakfast at Bonnie's got to engage that one in all likelihood, unless there's an incident at the gate. And while Breakfast at Bonnie's ran a very big figure last time out, when she's been engaged in pace battles, she's not nearly as good. So I think you have to worry about her getting engaged with a lady who has only 1 race to go.
Yeah, has she just become a different filly? I mean, 2 starts back, she was beat by a horse who's 31-1 on the board right now.
Right, that's the thing. And, listen, to be fair, that was off a 4-month layoff. And she ran last time, and I'm in no way suggesting she's not a player in this race. But with the presence of Sadie Lady, who has only 1 way she can possibly go, she's got to have company in the front end. Yes, she benefits from drawing outside of that one, but still, she figures to be involved in the pace.
And in addition, Sadie Lady's a multiple stakes winner.
Right, it's not like, she's not in good form, and I don't particularly like her here, but she's a good horse. She's good enough to at least, put a little dent into her speed, and Time Limit could sit behind. The question is there anybody you trust as a closer? Are we all going to say, why didn't we take a will away from Mitch Friedman, who ran an 80 buyer and ran Breakfast at Bonnie's, closing in the slop at Aqueduct when she wins at 30-1? I'm not, but some will. Kept Waiting is the wild card, right? Who just a week ago we saw.
Yeah, dirt debut for the 2, and she winds up winning by 8 lengths. There she is, 5-year-old mare by Broken Vow. Manny Franco will be orders at Carmouche when she won last time out.
And it was a really strange day, because if you watched, it was last Sunday. The prior days, the rail had been dead. It felt like the rail wasn't great earlier, but maybe riders were staying away from it. Suddenly in her race, the 6th race, 6, 7, and 8, felt like the rail was gold. And then the 9th race, if you watched that in isolation, you'd say there was nothing, the rail wasn't good. They finished in the middle of the racetrack. So did she benefit from being on the rail and getting a gold rail? Or was that really an illusion? I don't know the answer. It seems so weird that a track would change for 3 races in the middle of the card. Is it possible? I mean, anything's possible. I'm beginning to wonder. It was a race where all the favorites just completely and totally failed to show up. But she showed up in a big way, and you really can't blame Robbie Falcone for taking a shot with her a week later. She's a real
strike
wild
where the
card.
iron's hot, and that's absolutely what he's doing here.
2-1.
That dirt debut, and maybe she just loves this surface. JK, what are your thoughts?
I think the pace. I think the pace should be fast. I'm never going to say the pace is going to be fast anymore. The pace should be fast. Sadie Lady wants to go a little bit. Time Limit, Chasing Car is not slow. Breakfast at Bonnie's. And I'm just hoping that Kept Waiting has just been waiting to get onto the dirt. She's going to sit a nice trip, saving ground on the inside. She's not going to have any trouble getting away from there on the turn, and can just sit in behind and hope that these other talented horses, Sadie Lady, Time Limit, and Breakfast at Bonnie's, engage each other earlier. Like I said, they're all good, so not one of them is going to stop early. I'm hoping that they engage each other midway on the turn or on the 3/8 pole and set it up for a horse like the 2 Kept Waiting. Now, I wish her price was a little bit higher, because I feel like what I'm trying to accomplish deserves a 3-1, 4-1 feel versus some of the other animals that are in this race. But if we're just talking about a pick from a pick standpoint, I do actually like the 2 quite a bit in here.
See if she can get it done again on a very quick return just 7 days later.
I don't, you said this to me off camera, and we agree. I don't believe she should be the same price as the number 5 Time Limit, who I just think is better. But I can understand the feeling that even though 5 can rate, she's one of 3 speeds. I'm really intrigued to see what she does in here, because she's a horse, we talked about it before the race. Maggie had talked to Rob Falcone, and neither one of them seemed particularly optimistic about her chances. We weren't that optimistic sitting up here about her chances, but we made the point, and everybody made the same point. You take a shot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you sit in the barn, because I don't think we're going to be in the turf. Believe it or not, we're going to be in the turf in less than 2 months, which is hard to believe. He took a shot, and
it was unexpected, and it paid off in a big way. Can she back it up? Again, this, for a lot of reasons, a very neat race, because Breakfast at Bonnie's, too. Can she back up what she did last time out? Because if she can, maybe she's the star of this New York bred circuit in this division. The 4, Sadie Lady, over $400,000 in earnings. Obviously not what she's been in the past, but she has a pretty good resume.
Well, when she runs a race, she's a player in this race. The problem is she hasn't been running it recently. And she ends up being the hunted in this race. And it's a tough spot to get her to come back and be the hunted. But if you feel like she's going to come back, good luck. I thought she had a pretty good trip last time out. Obviously, Glass Ceiling is better than she is right now, but she abdicated badly in her last start. And she's got to survive a pace because they're not taking her back. If she take her back, she'll run last.
She has to go. That's the only way she knows how to do it. 8-time winner from 22 starts. 5 of those 8 wins coming here at Aqueduct for Sadie Lady. I mean, to think you were going to get, and I know she's not in the form she's been in the past. There's other speed, but 9-1?
Well, you've got 3 horses right now that are 2-1 or lower. At that point, I mean, did I think she? Yeah, I did. I mean,
you did.
Her recent form is just. Here's the other thing. Even if she was in good form, would you like her in this spot?
Yeah, good point.
You know?
Probably not. Just the race does not, from a pace standpoint, does not seem to set up for her.
It doesn't. This is a tricky race. We'll see.
Now, Rob Falcone trying to catch lightning in a bottle with Kept Waiting, who was a big surprise moving to dirt last time out. Can she do it again? Let's go to Maggie.
Well, Rob has had success doing this with big performances coming in, short rest off a stake. You did it with Maiden Beauty in the Bay Ridge. Rob, what led to the decision? Kept Waiting. She looked like primarily a turf horse. Big performance last Sunday. You stuck her in here.
Yeah, she ran real big first time on the dirt. You know, we didn't really know exactly what to expect. Sometimes the turf horses that work on the dirt, but in the afternoon they don't transform their form over to the surface. But she obviously did. She was geared down late. She came back to the barn happy. We saw this race coming up, you know, short field, and you know, take a shot. Hopefully, you have a couple go after each other, and we could sit off and make a run at them.
That's exactly what we were thinking. Well, Rob, best of luck here.
Thank you.
All right, Rob Falcone, he's looking to, as you said, Greg, capture lightning in the bottle yet once again with this Broadway.
5-2. Can she back it up off short rest? Does a short rest bother you at all?
It does when she loses. No, I feel like trainers are running back for a reason. And I thought Rob's not going to run her if she's doing lousy. So I don't know. We see plenty of horses do well on short rest, so not really. I'm going to trust in Rob. I don't love her in this spot, but
But that wouldn't be a reason to stay away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hard to believe I'm going to say she lost because he came back on short rest.
Post-parade coming up, we're going to see a Willoway to kick things off, who just 3 starts back at 46-1. Beat the horse who's the 8-5 favorite in this race today. That was Breakfast at Bonnie's. Since then, tried a couple of stakes races, and things did not go her way.
She's a very funny horse, but she ran a big race that day. There's no denying it. She's a huge price. If you want to take a shot with her, there are crazier 30-1 shots running.
Next door, we just heard from her trainer, Rob Falcone. He tried dirt, and it paid off.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what she does. I imagine she'll drift a little bit. I didn't look at doubles, but I would think she drifts a little to 3-1, 7-2 or something.
7-year-old mare here who's won over $500,000.
I originally thought she was an interesting horse, thinking the track would be fast. I think she just needs a faster track.
Speedy Sadie Lady making her 6-year-old debut.
No, she doesn't the same name as my cat when I was a kid. That's the best thing I can say.
Time limit. Trevor McCarthy, Mike Maker.
I think she's the horse to beat in here. I'm a little skeptical of the figure last time, but she's run against some good horses and run some good races.
Chasing Kara, she ended last year with a win. She does have a win on an off track.
But man, she's got to get faster to be competitive here. She's the lesser, in my opinion, the 2 Mitch Friedman horses, and she's a shorter price.
And a win last time out that was jaw-dropping from Breakfast at Bonnie's.
She did, and she should be in a good stalking spot. But with the speed of Sadie Lady and time limit stalking, I don't know. I'm skeptical of this one.
7-5 favorite. Jose Lizcano will ride for Danny Gargan. Minute to post here in our Sunday feature, the Broadway here at Aqueduct. Expecting to see the 4 and the 7 battle early in here. Let's go downstairs again to Maggie.
Yeah, I want to talk about that long shot. Same boat as Andy. What the 2 Mitch Friedman horses, a Willoway should be the 17-1 shot, not 29-1. Especially with looking at these horses too. A Willoway, she's really well conditioned. Now she does catch that wet track once again, but 3 back, that was no bother for her whatsoever. And hopefully she gets the right kind of setup. But she is sharp. She is feeling good. She just looks like a horse who's doing well. So if she can get back to that fast race, she's a major player here. So I would not be afraid of using her underneath here at a big price, Greg.
Can she do it again to Breakfast at Bonnie's, who's the 6-5 favorite? She did 3 starts back on a same type of track right here at Aqueduct on a sloppy going. That was at 6.5 furlongs. Today they're going 6. You saw the analyst selections. It's going to be a fun race, especially to watch early how it sets up.
I agree. Well, the thing that 5 is going for is if the 4 doesn't go strong for whatever reason, she can put herself in the race. I really think she's an overlay at 5-2. I don't see any reason that she's the same price as the 2, to be honest with you.
There she is. Comes in off a win at Laurel. Looking for her first win here at start number 3 at Aqueduct. But 17 career starts. She's been in the money in 15 of 17 efforts.
Yeah, she's a horse that can run on turf and dirt, but she's showing herself to be a quality dirt horse at this point. I honestly think she should be, I don't think she should be 5-2 and the bottom horse should be 6-5. I don't understand the discrepancy in price.
Owns a win on an off track as well. She can run on absolutely anything. 6-5 favorite, though. Breakfast at Bonnie's. There's the 2. Rob Falcone, we heard from. Tried dirt, start number 10, taking a shot just to see if she could handle it with no turf racing here in New York for the next couple of months here. And it paid off with a big win, 8-length score. Now returned 7 days later. There's the speedy Sadie Lady, multiple stakes winner. She is going to try and pressure the favorite early on. Breakfast at Bonnie's, the 7, will be the last in line. 6-5 choice with Jose Lezcano. It's the Broadway Sunday feature here at Aqueduct. Chris Griffin, the call.
Breakfast at Bonnie's, all in line, all set. And they're off. Awkward start for A Will Away at the back of the field. Early speed here from Sadie Lady. Gunned out of the gate. It's Sadie Lady quickly up by a quick 2. Time limit is right there in second. Then comes Kept Waiting in third as this leader flies up front. Breakfast at Bonnie's has now secured the 4th position in the center of the racetrack. Red cap, that's Chasing Kara. The 2 at the back, Let Me Take This Call, and awkward starting A Will Away is the trailer. No turning back here for Sadie Lady as 4 lengths in front, has less than a half mile to go. Went 22.69 for that quick opening quarter mile. Time limit right up on the outside of Kept Waiting. Breakfast at Bonnie starts to move in closer from 4th as this runaway leader is still 3.5 lengths clear. Further back, Chasing Kara. Let Me Take This Call, and still the trailer. A Will Away. They're approaching the quarter-mile pole, and here comes Breakfast at Bonnie's. Kept Waiting, and in between horses as well. Moving up his time limit. Sadie Lady's got to find more to the inside. Kept Waiting is ready to challenge, and Kept Waiting's the new leader. Up there in the 3 path comes Time Limit on the far outside as Breakfast at Bonnie's not making up the ground. It's Kept Waiting in front. Kept Waiting is now 2.5 in front. From the back, Chasing Kara. Let Me Take This Call. Kept Waiting got the right trip, and now Kept Waiting is geared down and wins the Broadway easily. Kept Waiting, then comes Time Limit, Breakfast at Bonnie's, and Let Me Take This Call in 1 minute 12.81 seconds in the Broadway.
Kept Waiting backs up that performance in that dirt debut off a week's rest. She's now 2 for 2 on the surface.
I don't think she backed up. I think she improved, Greg.
She did.
And it maybe draws sort of an interesting argument that maybe it wasn't the rail that got strong last time. She just ran very well. The interesting thing was, they tried to rate Breakfast at Bonnie's. That didn't work out. She was a bad 3rd. This horse was actually right there with Time Limit early. You thought she might be the one that would take advantage if they were hitting up front. And she touted herself the whole way by putting herself in the game. And she just absolutely galloped. The money was right on her. And Rob Falcone must be thinking, thank God I took a shot and entered her last week. It's been about, what has it been? It's been about $100,000+ week for this horse.
Incredible.
Yeah. Congratulations to the connections. It's nice to see with Sandy Goldfarb getting this horse done. Sandy, a good guy. Has had a horse a long time.
New York bred stakes
just
in our future this summer?
You mean besides this one?
Well, no, more coming up at Saratoga.
Sure. I mean, yeah, all the doors are open for her at this point. I mean, why not? And I'll tell you something else. I'm not saying she's going to win open stakes, but
you wait and see what the number comes back. But yeah,
she just destroyed this field. I mean, if you think that the second herd of horses ran numbers in the low 80s, she ran a number over 90. It's a wet track. Weird things happen, but she crushed these horses.
And just going in on paper in this race, it seemed like a pretty strong edition of this race, didn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, would you have been shocked if she ended up running 4th in here? And I don't think Rob would have been totally shocked. He had to be feeling confident to bring her back on short rest. So, yeah, short rest didn't matter.
Manny Franco, Rob Falcone, 2 dominant victories in just a week's time for Kept Waiting, trying a surface she'd never been on before in those last 2 victories. She is fun to watch, and hopefully going to hear a lot more from her coming up down the line this year. Going to get back to Oaklawn when we return. Francisco Arrieta, told you about his story the other day on the program. He is certainly making a name for himself in his second full season of riding here at Hot Springs. More on him next.
Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions, proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, the only horse to defeat 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Well, King for a Day was basically a clone of Uncle Mo. I mean, good speed, the ability to carry it over distance of ground, real professional horse and a really cool horse to train.
Sire maker extraordinaire Uncle Mo, represented in New York by King for a Day. Visit ihdvstallions.com to book your mare today.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKinsey. McKinsey Preservationist Vino Rosso and Yoshida. McKinsey's in front.
McKinsey, they've done it. McKinsey has it by 2. It's McKinsey in a dominant performance. Pure class in the Malibu.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Back in Hot Springs, Arkansas. 6th at Oaklawn, going to kick off the late pick 4. And a wide open race here in this 6-furlong sprint. We're going to start off our post parade with Cold as Hell, who was just beat a neck last time out and has speed from the rail.
Is that me, or is that kind of an aggressive name?
It is.
Yeah,
D. Wayne Lucas trains and owns son of Frosted. Here's the 2 Tango Charlie.
Yeah, the last race actually was solid enough. It just seems like there's a lot of speed in here with the 1 and even the 9 having speed.
Altered 2-back was a winner at Churchill Downs.
This horse would be a massive upset.
Herd Immunity disappointed last time out.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. This horse got a weird trip in there, actually, and I think is very dangerous in here.
Favorite right now. Ribbons and Medals, another major player.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I prefer others, but this horse is a player.
6-1, Ramon Vasquez. Amongst Friends at 8-1, John Court, Randy Matthews.
Thought this was a very interesting turn back. I was going to bet the 4-6 exacta box.
Yeah, the sprints have all been very good for this horse. The longer races, you would say throw out, but back to sprinting, intriguing. Goes on Success, 15-1.
Yeah, this horse just looks overmatched, at least in the recent races.
Mr. Thunderstruck.
Same with him coming in from Prairie Meadows, where he just doesn't look fast enough.
40-1. He's the biggest price on the board. Devil's Tower, Chris Hartman claimed a few starts back off of Tom Amos and returned to the winner's circle last start.
The benefit of being the outside of the 3 speeds. That's what he has going for him in a good last race.
Francisco Arrieta on board there as we tease going to break about him. Chief Ron, the 10, John Geraldo.
It did run okay last time, but would have to improve even on that effort.
And Robertino Diodoro with U.S. Steel, who 2-back was a winner in the mud at Oaklawn.
The comment line says traffic. If there was traffic for this horse, I didn't see it. I thought he ran poorly, and I bet him last time.
Minute to post coming up. Francisco Arrieta, he again is on the 9 Devil's Tower. He's teaming up with trainer Chris Hartman. Let's go to Gary.
Yeah, guys, he's a combination. They're hitting at 23%, and a lot of times you get in a groove with the trainer where you just have a lot of confidence. You ride with confidence. Chris Hartman, very aggressive in the claim box. Claimed this horse 2 races back. and he just ran a horrible race the next time that he came out. He must have found the ace in the hole in this horse, because he came back, ran well last time, and looks like he'll run good again today. But talking about the combination, part of that combination is Jay Fedor, his Arietta's agent, has been a long-time client of Jay's, Chris Hartman, and he usually always uses his riders. And once that happens, you ride with a lot of confidence. You feel free. Like if you happen to make a mistake in a race, you don't feel like you're going to get taken off. So a lot of times, I rode for certain people where if I got beat, I knew I was getting taken off. And a lot of times I would make wrong moves in races when I was under that pressure. And once I learned to just put it out of my mind, I was a lot better off. But we talked about Francisco yesterday and what he went through when he came from America just to get an opportunity. It's been a long journey, and nobody's riding any better than Francisco Arrieta at this meet, guys.
Gary, thanks. Yeah, we heard his story as Gary talked about him. He had to really pay his dues and wait his turn to try and get an opportunity. He is making the most of it right now.
Yeah, no, he's riding great, absolutely. We talked about it yesterday, and we'll talk about it probably the rest of the meet. He really looks good out there, riding with confidence, riding well, and it's good to see. Should be one of several in here that look like they're going to be forwardly placed and want to try and go to the front. I agree. That yes, it's a benefit to be outside if you're one of the speeds, but we'll see. Listen, he did run well last time. I'm not going to knock him. His last race absolutely gives him a chance in this race. I won't knock it. I prefer the horse who's favored right now, the 4 Herd Immunity. I did not like the ride this horse got last time. His horse was usually more forward. They lost position in there. I'm not saying he's going to be in front in this race, but I think he'll be more forward, at least versus the pace. And I thought he was dangerous. I played 4-6. Bet we'll win the 6th, though, at 9-1.
Where's Jonathan going to put his money? JK.
Yeah, look, I like the 9 Devil's Tower as well. This is a horse that ran well for Tom Amos back in November, then moved to the Chris Hartman barn, did not run well, but I thought that you could kind of, ignore that race if you were looking for a reason to ignore that race. It was stuck on the inside, just didn't run particularly well, then came back and kind of matched that effort that he ran for Tom back in the day. So I'm hoping that we can see that number again. And like I say all the time, I like these kind of outside tactical draws at Oaklawn Park. And that's exactly where the 9 Devil's Tower finds himself, and 6-1 as well.
All right, JK, thanks. Herd Immunity, meanwhile, the 4. Beaten favorite in a 50,000 starter allowance, same condition as today. Did make up ground late. Public saying, let's give him another shot here. He had a huge effort at Del Mar prior to that.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I mean, obviously, those paces are wrong. I don't believe they went 21, 42, and 3. If you want to believe them, what can I tell you? That's pretty quick. I don't think Usain Bolt could go that fast.
Ever seen a 42 3/4, especially at that racetrack.
Not buying that for 1 second, Greg.
Vic Stoff for the call. Here's race 6, Oaklawn.
Ribbons and medals, Chief Ron. Last to load. Michael, we're bigger than U.S. Steel. They're at the post. They're off. Devil's Tower broke beautifully. So did Tango Charlie and Cold as Hell. U.S. Steel in the mix. These 4 are quickest. Then comes Kozan Success, Ribbons and Medals, and Mr. Thunderstruck, followed by Herd Immunity and Altered, then Chief Ron, and the trailer is Amongst Friends. 3 of them up the backstretch, Cold as Hell, Tango Charlie between horses, and Devil's Tower 3 deep. They are right across the racetrack, and now 2 lengths in front of Kozan Success and U.S. Steel. Another 5 back to Ribbons and Medals, Mr. Thunderstruck, and Chief Ron. Herd Immunity has 9 lengths to make up. He's a length in front of Altered. Amongst Friends is the trailer, and Devil's Tower gets away at the top of the stretch. Devil's Tower traveling very nicely. Past the quarter-mile marker, he's opened up a 3-length lead on Tango Charlie in second. Cold as Hell races in third. Then to the outside in Ribbons and Medals, it's Devil's Tower past the final furlong. He's got the lead. Chief Ron is moving nicely in the center. Cold as Hell at the rail. Devil's Tower still a 16th out. He's got the lead. Now Mr. Thunderstruck is out after him. Devil's Tower, Mr. Thunderstruck closing. Devil's Tower, Mr. Thunderstruck. Devil's Tower in front. Devil's Tower beat Mr. Thunderstruck. Tango Charlie was third, 4 across the track for fourth.
Francisco Arrieta, he obliges with a win, teaming up with Chris Hartman, and this horse goes back-to-back.
Yeah, it was a good call on this horse. This horse ran very, very well. This was a fast pace they were setting. He buried the other speeds, and they could not come catch him. My 6 put in his run, but got a fast pace to close into. It just wasn't good enough in the pink, but this horse ran well. It's a good call.
How about this 8, Mr. Thunderstruck, getting up for second, too? Huge price.
Yeah, I hope Jonathan had him for second, some exactas. It's a good price. It's a tough horse to have, at least for me.
2 horse gets third. Tango Charlie, but a Devil's Tower, Arrieta, Hartman team up for the victory. Feature back in New York and kept waiting. Well, they waited to put this 5-year-old mare on the dirt, and it has paid off. Let's go to Maggie.
Here with winning rider Manny Franco aboard, kept waiting. Manny, you were actually aboard for a turf win a couple starts ago, but boy, is she taken to the dirt quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, Robert bring her ready today too. Last time she won easily too, but we saw now she gonna run both, you know, turf or on dirt, but today was impressive.
It was. I mean, she's won by open lengths in both of these dirt performances. And 2, she was pretty sharp today. She had you in a forward position from the get-go.
Yeah, I was hoping to she put me in the position that I want to be behind the speed. And I was hoping to some horse was in the lead with the 4. So when I see the 5 horse, he was sitting second, but I have a lot of horse too inside him, so was just waiting for the right moment to move, and she was there for me the whole way.
Manny, congratulations. Big win here in this Broadway.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Manny Franco aboard, kept waiting. Well, she's been waiting to deliver some serious performances on the dirt so far, Greg.
I can't wait to see what she does next.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing what she does. She's really stepped forward. It's amazing that they they took their shot. And, you know, we talk about this a lot, right? No turf racing. You've got these turf horses. They're New York breds particularly. You stay in New York for the winter, you take a shot. They can't run the dirt. Send them to the farm for the winter. They took their shot and made $100,000 in a week. Good for them.
$6.90 for the win. Pick 5. Havable today. With 1 leg still remains.
Yeah.
Going to close out the sequence with a New York bred maiden claiming event, $25,000 tag, 1-turn mile in this final race of the afternoon. Sir William on the outside, the favorite. It's been at this level the last 2 starts, 26-1 and 30-1.
My friend David Aragona likes him, which is probably one of the reasons he opened up as the favorite. If you can make sense of this race, you're a much smarter person than me. I have no idea who's going to win this race.
We'll talk more about it when we come back, see if we can make heads of it when we return. Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation teaming up with the New York State Department of Corrections to expand their operations with their Second Chances program. We'll have this story when we come back.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Solovini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it. The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
These horses, which are bred to be our entertainment, need a home after they're done racing. And they respond to kindness and a firm hand. And the incarcerated individuals over the years that have worked in this program, they in turn learn to get in touch with their own humanity by being kind to these animals.
Well, TRF expanding to a new farm located at Wyoming Correctional Facility in Attica, about an hour outside Buffalo. Second Chances program, pioneer in its field, successfully has expanded already to include 8 correctional facilities across the country. Foundation also providing sanctuary to retired thoroughbreds and, of course, helping incarcerated individuals, life-changing for them. Maggie, I know you're well aware of what this program does. Good friend to TRF. Tell us more about it.
Well, Greg, this, as you mentioned, will become the 9th Second Chances program, the second in New York, only second to the original at Wallkill Correctional Facility. And as you were saying, these programs, by working with these retired racehorses who can't necessarily go on to second sport horse careers, gives these incarcerated individuals the experience, the horsemanship skills to go on to get second careers once they are released, such as veterinary assistants, caretakers, even farriers to boot. And this one at Wyoming Correctional Facility will start with 10 retired racehorses and look to expand to up to 25. And it will become their home. Over 50 acres, a converted actual dairy barn will be the home for these horses and for the men to work with them. And I can't say enough for what the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation has done for the horses as well as the incarcerated individuals. It's been a marriage throughout time that has just worked wonders for both horse and human. Greg?
Terrific program that we talk a lot about on this show, and it's well-deserved. Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation finding homes for our equine athletes once their careers on the racetrack are over. And that Second Chances program doing a lot of good.
No, there's nothing more to be added to that except, thanks.
And we have our nightcap coming up here in New York as the snow continues to fall in South Ozone Park, 1 turn mile ahead. And it is not an easy race to try and handicap or to try and find positives with a lot of these runners, but it makes it a good betting race.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Listen, if you have an idea, I don't care what price your horse is, you should just dive in. I wouldn't, I respect David Aragona, who likes the 8 a lot. I wouldn't bet Sir William, much as I know it's insulting to you. Bet a few hundred for your son on him. I know that. There's no form in this race. There's just nothing I could find to grab onto about anybody in this race. And, when you're a public handicapper and we have to make picks, you got to make picks. These are the races that take me the longest time. I kept looking at this race and saying, I have no idea who to pick. So I picked the horse that had the least number of starts. That's Rush to Honor for Linda Rice. This horse was atrocious last time, albeit against much, much better horses. But he was terrible in that race. I'm hoping second off a layoff, he runs back better. He was off 7-month layoff last time.
Long layoff, a lot better company. So at least a couple of reasons to think today's going to be different for the 3.
Yeah, but it's hard to endorse him. He didn't do any running whatsoever in there, and it's just hard to look. The 5 Prince of Joy looks like the speed, but how do you endorse him off of his races? He's the slowest of anybody in here. Horses really have had chances, and they've had overall pretty good trips. I can't make a case for, I can't make a strong case for anybody. I can make a strong case against everybody.
Including, and that's maybe why in some ways this is a good race to try and play, because you can make a strong case against the favorite here. I know some like him. Obviously, the public likes him.
I don't think the 8 Sir William will be favored. He's a horrible favorite. I'm not saying he won't win. He's a horrible favorite in this race, though. And I'll look at his. I don't know what his morning line was, but
6-1.
Yeah, it wasn't projected. The morning line maker is the person whose opinion I'm referring to, David Aragona, and I just 6-1, fine, I guess, in this field, but. Bohemian Ruby, who's the 2-1 morning line favorite. I don't know if he's favored doubles and multis at all. This horse is really dressed up. Could he win? Yeah, he could. But last time out, he got a super strong pace to close in 2, and he had no run. Now, in fairness, he was wide last time, and the rail was the place to be. But he was down on the inside, and he had a good trip 2 races back. But he ran a 56 buyer, which would be good enough to win. He was against the track last time, but he had no run, and that was a fast pace that was falling apart.
Post parade we'll get to. We're going to go back to Hot Springs, Arkansas right now. Devil's Tower, back-to-back victories. And Francisco Arrieta aboard for Chris Hartman with the win here.
I guess there are shadows falling because it's looking a little dark there. Yeah, no, listen, he continues to ride very, very well, and it feels like he's going to maintain it. The way he's riding, he's going to get the mounts, right?
Certainly seems that way. So Devil's Tower, $10.40.
Look at that exacta.
$738. Wow, 77-1 on Mr. Thunderstruck.
He looked like in the paper.
It's coming off a maiden win. This was, yeah, there were a lot of runners who
tough
had
field.
a lot of things to like about him in this race. He was a tough one to try and come up with underneath. 50-cent trifecta, $2,400. We'll get to the 7th in a little bit. Right now, back to New York. Bellboy, blinkers on. There's a few horses in this race you can say, look, you could throw out, right?
No.
There's not.
No, there's absolutely nobody in this race that I am going to fall out of my chair if that horse wins. Even Prince of Joy, who looks ridiculous, but he's the controlling.
Even Bellboy.
Bellboy, I picked him 4th. I don't know. He's lightly raced. I don't really like him. I'm not going to say I can't. The problem is when you're trying to handicap. When you're doing these shows, when you're handicapping publicly and you're talking about races publicly, whether here or in handicapping shows, you need to have a reason to like and dislike horses. I can come up with plenty of reasons to dislike everybody in here. And everything's relative. Somebody is going to win this race. I just cannot surmise a strong opinion to defend anybody. I took Rush to Honor because he's second off a layoff and he's dropping down for a good trainer. But my gosh, I don't want to defend his last race. It was bad.
Jonathan, difficult one here to close out this card in New York.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement. So you shout out to Sir William, my man Willie G, young Wolfie. But look, I like the 2 Bohemian Ruby for a couple of reasons. One, Stores has some back numbers that fit. You got Kendrick here. I always get happy when I see Kendrick on my horse, whether it's a horse that comes from out of it or a horse that's forward. Kendrick is not the type of guy that puts his horses in places they shouldn't be. And as a horse player, I appreciate that. But more importantly, you know, you've heard Andy and I and Maggie as well, and the rest of the crew kind of talk a little bit about how this racetrack has kind of changed, and there's been some places that you wanted to be and places that you didn't want to be. And I think that back in January 22nd, it was a place that you wanted to be forward and saving ground, and Bohemian Ruby didn't do that. And Andy and I talked about it recently. I don't try to bet bias on the day because things can change, and it's hard to predict where horses are going to end up in a race when you're handicapping it. I like to bet bias after that, off of a biased racetrack when a horse was kind of up against it, and I feel like Bohemian Ruby was, and I think that Bohemian Ruby will run better here today.
Thanks for the shout out, JK. He's at home watching, by the way. 7-2 on Bohemian Ruby, who JK is going to go with in this spot here. So this is start number 10 coming up, and this horse hit the board 2 of the last 3 times at this level.
I'm like Rodney Dangerfield here. I made the same thing. I got no thank you. Jonathan, you know, I'm a little I'm kidding. Look at you.
What did you do? I don't even know.
I said Sir William, name for your son.
You did say that. I appreciate it.
No, sure you do.
7-1 on Bellboy, blinkers on.
Well, we know Greg doesn't like Bellboy. I think he has a shot.
Bohemian Ruby, the one JK's going with, Kendrick Carmouche.
I picked him second, but I can spend a lot more time telling you why I don't like him.
Horse to beat, Rush to Honor.
I think so. Look at this. His first race is good enough to win here. So let's hope he needs his race off lamp. That wasn't a sloppy track, so maybe that'll help.
And it was against, well, it was a race taken off the turf, so tough to say.
It's getting much better.
Reunion, yeah. Reunion Tour. Almost any field may be better than this, so probably was. Reunion Tour 9-2.
He's 0 for 15 with 3 seconds and 3/3, but I always root for Jalen Samuel and Jimmy Ferraro as well.
5 went by. Here's Crock of Gold. New gelding.
It just seems like this horse is consistently too slow, that somebody's going to run faster than the 40s he runs every time. Right? Everybody else a lot of them have one race that's fast enough.
Bohemian Ruby is 3-1 right now. This horse was only a neck behind that one last start.
Yeah, I agree. This horse shouldn't be 10-1 based on that against Bohemian Ruby and has had less chances.
8 seems to be feeling pretty good going over the track. Sir William.
The last race is good enough to give him a chance, gets a rider change.
7-2 for the Jimmy Ferraro barn. 5 starts, has never hit the board. First 2 came against a lot better. Let's go to Maggie for more.
Check in with Bohemian Ruby, and this is a horse that some of his faster races have come on the turf, as well as wet tracks. Well, he gets a wet track here again. As I always say, horse is more inclined to be maybe a bit more turf meant. They appreciate a track like this. He gets it here. He's made a great impression the last several times I've seen him, and we've talked about his excuse last time. So I think he makes sense. Hopefully Kendrick is a bit more aggressive with him, though the blinkers do stay off for the second time in a row. I do like number 3, Rush to Honor in here. I'll forgive him a little bit for that last performance. As Andy was talking about, he is a big horse. So a lot of times those big types, they need a start under their belt. I was not in the paddock to see what he looked like last time. He does get the precipitous drop, but Linda is having a little bit of a slower meet, and I think we're going to see her be aggressive with a lot of horses to just try to get things going again. And this horse just looks better, like a better quality animal than many of the horses that he faces here. So I'm going to go with him, as we'll also take a look at a first-time gelding, number 6, Crock of Gold. He seems to run the same race each and every time. He's led over, which isn't very good. But I will say that coming back as a gelding, he's a lot more quiet in the paddock. So it was something that he probably needed, just a bit of an attitude adjustment. Overall, he looks good physically. I mean, he looks healthy enough for Gary Siaka. I just thought one that's going to be a big price, and I like the new gelding angle with him. Greg?
Yeah, at least, thank you, Maggie, at least something different, right, with Crock of Gold. Maybe wakes this horse up a little. You don't have to wake up a lot, probably, to win here.
Maggie wants to take a shot with a 20-1 shot. I'm the last person that's going to knock her on that, especially in this race. So go for it. What can I say? And she's right. You got the new gelding aspect, so maybe the horse will move up. It's a change that works when it works, But listen, I'm not going to. The last thing I picked a horse who's 2-1 in this race. I'm the one who should be embarrassed, not Maggie for taking a shot at 20-1.
Well, you've got the 4 as well, Reunion Tour for Jimmy Ferraro, who has the 8 as well. Reunion Tour's hit the board at least in 3 of the last 4. Including at this level last time out with some trouble at the start, but seems to have issues at the start quite often.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
Was second for State Bred Maiden 40, but you got to go a little ways back to find that. But it has some of the best numbers in this race, and 4-1 on the board. 2-1 favorite, Rush to Honor, the 3. In this nightcap here from New York, there's Bohemian Ruby, who JK likes, with Kendrick Carmouche. Chris Griffin, to close out our card here in New York, still the feature to come from Oaklawn. We'll have that coming up in a bit.
Two out. Reunion Tour, Sir William to the outside. Goes in. All in line. All set. Coming through the front of the gate there before they broke was the 7, Tuesday's Child. Rest of the field still in the starting gate. Outrider 2, the 7, didn't go very far. Tuesday's Child will be led back behind the gate.
So Tuesday's Child looks like a quick look over and all okay. We'll head right back into the gate, and that is the case. Let's go back to Chris Griffin.
All set. And they're off. Speed towards the outside here from Prince of Joy. Also in the early mix, the pink sleeve, that's going to be Rush to Honor. They're going to be 1-2. Towards the outside comes Tuesday's Child, who's challenging to the outside a Crock of Gold as those outside runners are now bunching up. Sir William is in the early fray as well as they come out of the chute. 4 across the racetrack. In between horses here, there's Prince of Joy and Crock of Gold with now a 3 wide. Sir William taking off the pace. Red cap, that's Tuesday's Child. It's going to settle in behind that leading trio. Further back in the field is Rush to Honor, Reunion Tour, the 2 at the back, Bohemian Ruby, and the trailer is Bellboy. Prince of Joy and Jackie Davis, they've got the lead. They're up by a half length. Up on the outside is Sir William, who's challenging and takes second outside of Crock of Gold. In behind them is Tuesday's Child. They're 5 in front of Rush to Honor. Now forward momentum, Blue Silk's Bohemian Ruby from the back of the pack, Reunion Tour, and Bellboy. Still can see them all. Less than a half mile to go. Prince of Joy. Into the far turn, it's Prince of Joy, who's 2 in front. Fully extended here in second is Sir William, not making up the ground as this leader is getting away. Tuesday's Child to the outside of Crock of Gold, who's also losing ground. From the back, Rush to Honor has got some late momentum. Bohemian Ruby is going to be wide. Reunion Tour too far back to Bellboy. Prince of Joy is approaching the quarter mile, pole 3.5 lengths in front. Prince of Joy's got the lead at the top of the stretch. Rush to Honor is trying to rally on. Tuesday's Child on the far outside. Bohemian Ruby. Sir William is re-engaging and coming after the leader now, who hugs the rail. 8 to go. It's still Prince of Joy in front. Finding Sir William is trying to cut into that late margin. It's still Prince of Joy fending him off. On the far outside, Bohemian Ruby. Prince of Joy is clear. Prince of Joy at a big number in the finale. Bohemian Ruby to the outside in a photo with Sir William and Tuesday's Child.
There was one horse in here that would result in a pick 6 carryover, and that horse just won. Prince of Joy, Jackie Davis out in front and able to hang on for the win.
We should have done opposite handicapping and just bet the horse that players the least chance on paper. This horse was loose, and one thing you can count on with Jackie Davis, she doesn't rate speed horses. She got a little company early, and they actually were moving for this quality of horses, relatively speaking. But she opened up on the turn, and she's trying to get him off the rail right now. You can see that left-handed crop, and got him a little off the rail, but it didn't matter. Congrats to Jackie Davis. Richard Illegal getting the job done as well, but always like to see Jackie win. You know, these ninth races, women are really strong in the ninth races. You notice that?
So we've had a couple of, all-female trifectas over the last couple of weeks in the nightcap. And now Jackie Davis with the win here, and resulting in a pick 6 carryover leading into next week.
Listen, I couldn't have had this horse. We did talk about how he was the speed, but we also made it pretty clear that you weren't going to take a stand against anybody here.
We're going to take a timeout. When we return, it was a big Saturday at Oaklawn. In the Bayakoa, Miss Bigley ran to her name, picking up the 8th win of her career in Plainsman in a 7-year-old debut with another graded stakes victory.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery was a multiple graded stakes winner at 2, including this victory in the Los Alamitos Cash Call Futurity. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring, and his first runners are hitting the track. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York breds start with an advantage. New York breds run for serious green. At Belmont and Saratoga, New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
If you're looking into racing partnerships, you should know they're not all the same. When you partner with Bond Racing Stables, you become a member of a growing family of racing enthusiasts, all guided by 3 generations of experience in thoroughbred breeding, training, and racing. Sharing the excitement at Saratoga and Belmont Park, where we've graced the winner's circle with winners like Giacosa, who was bred, born, and raised here at our Song Hill Farm. Get more than just a partnership. Become a member of the Bond Racing family. 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday afternoon with us. You can play all the action, of course, with Naira Bets. Download the app, go to nairabets.com, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Jackie Davis puts Prince of Joy in front on the lead, and he just keeps on going. And as a result, no one hits this pick six.
I'm very excited, Greg, because I'm taking a look, shockingly, at Friday's entries. The next day we race, and a horse that I like in the last race, the 8th race, Jackie Davis is riding. Closing out a pick six carryover, as you said.
Yeah. Well done. And, I mean, we should have known after you went on a rant about how impossible this race was. Why not take the biggest price on the board?
To be fair, I made 5 total picks in case somebody's scratching here, and the 5 was not one of them. So I don't want any credit for suggesting I like this horse. Let's be careful about that, and I appreciate it, Greg. But listen, this was that kind of race. And I'm sure I'm not alone in people looking at this race and saying I'd throw up my hands.
5-2-8 finish. And an incredibly formful late pick 5. It just takes one. And you got it. Well, if you went all in the last. Hey, it was a race that seemed like an all race, right? $6,380 return on basically Prince of Joy.
Absolutely right. What was the parlay? It was around $60. It was around $200. But for 50 cents, it was around $50. So the parlay was $1,500 for 50 cents, and it paid $7,000. So you got 4.5 times. I'm done. Bye.
That's how you're going to leave us?
That's what little Bobby just said. Bye. Did he just say bye, Andy?
Give us your selection for the Super Bowl.
I'll be handicapping Aqueduct and the Saturday Oaklawn card. The game will be on in the background with the Grateful Dead playing.
So you're not going to make a Mattress Mac type wager?
I'm rooting for Mattress Mac. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Whatever Mac
so
bets,
you're going with the Bengals then?
I'm all in for Mac. They're the underdog. I always root for the dog.
We're going to take a timeout. Maggie's going to join me on the desk coming up after a short timeout. We still have the feature coming up at Oaklawn. Again, 2 fillies who were on the Oaks Trail last year. Back in action. How about a fillies on the Oaks Trail this year? Nest, impressive in her 3-year-old return for Todd Pletcher in the Suncoast. We'll take a look back right after this.
Smile Happy was a TDN rising star following his maiden win at Keeneland. From there, he captured the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes to remain undefeated and earning points toward the Kentucky Derby. In Future Pool 1, Smile Happy was individual leader by lowest odds. Among the top of his crop by stakes winners and earnings, Run Happy continues his rise and is priced for success. Call today and book your mare to Red Hot Sire Run Happy, standing in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races. Good to be with you here on FS2. Program brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. I got a new partner on the desk, Maggie Wolfendale, joining me, taking over for Andy Serling for the last hour of the program. Good to see you.
Looking forward to it. I'm pleased to be up here. Nice and toasty. I can't feel my hands, but that's okay.
You were out braving the elements. We have that 8th at Oaklawn. That is the feature. Sun Path for Brad Cox. Willful Woman for Steve Asmussen. Going head-to-head in that one. First up, though, a 30 maiden claiming sprint.
Yes, a 30 maiden claiming sprint. As you mentioned, Greg, sorry, I'm just looking out here. We do see the favorite in here, Exculpate, a first-time starter from the Steve Asmussen barn.
With Joel Rosario aboard with more on this first-timer. Let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, let's talk about the relationship between Steve Asmussen and Joel Rosario. Sorry. It's a lot like the Francisco Arrieta, Chris Hartman sort of relationship. The relationships in this game go deep, and Ron Anderson, Joel's agent, he has a great relationship with Steve as well. He does his homework. He knows where everything is going all the time at every racetrack in the nation, and he prepares unbelievably. Joel's not only got confidence in Steve Asmussen, he's got confidence 100% in his agent. So Ron can pretty much pick and choose and figure out what he wants to ride. Listen, they're going into the gate right now, but I do need to tell you that when the 5-horse Exculpate came out onto the racetrack, if that was a rodeo, he would have scored, Joel would have scored about 90 points. And he looked like he was having fun doing it. I was a little bit worried watching him. And all of a sudden the horse just chilled out, as Joel does. He didn't panic. He went on about his business. The warm-up went great after the little episode that he threw right when he came on the racetrack, guys.
I love watching Joel. Because horses feed off the energy. And if you're laid back, they're going to lay back for you.
Well, let's calm down. Good sign. 9-5 favorite, the first timer for the Asmussen barn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer, race 7 here from Oaklawn.
Exculpate. Last to load, race day attire. They're at the post. They're off. Awkward start, True Blue Girl. Good start. Charlotte's Way to the front from Vida Bona and Ain't She a Pistol. Tropinka is next. Then Woohoo Jackie Blue, Race Day Attire, and Rio Lady. Exculpate is passed by 5D Consciousness. Then Rainbows Are Free, and True Blue Girl is at the back of the pack. Vida Bona has the lead from Charlotte's Way in second. Vida Bona neck in front. Charlotte's Way is second. Here's Woohoo Jackie Blue on the move in the center within a length of the lead. Tropinka's passed by Ain't She a Pistol to the outside. Race Day Attire is moving up just a bit. She's 4 from the front. 2 back to 5G Consciousness. Exculpate and Rio Lady have 8 lengths to make up. They're 3 in front of True Blue Girl. And now the trailer is Rainbows Are Free, and the leader is Woohoo Jackie Blue. Woohoo Jackie Blue and Charlotte's Way. These are the 2 off the top of the stretch, and right now they've pretty much got it to themselves. Woohoo Jackie Blue a neck in front. Charlotte's Way is second. 3.5 back to Race Day Attire, Tropinka, and Ain't She a Pistol, but it's Woohoo Jackie Blue, and now she's clear. Woohoo Jackie Blue in front of Charlotte's Way, and Tropinka and Ain't She a Pistol. Woohoo Jackie Blue. Woohoo Jackie Blue won by 4.5. Charlotte's Way was second, close for third between Ain't She a Pistol and Tropinka.
First-time starter for Ron Moquette with Ramon Vasquez gets the win here in the 7th.
Ramon Vasquez has just been riding lights out. We saw it yesterday in the stake with Miss Bigley, just a perfect trip. And he was aggressive with this first-time starter, and it paid off. And do you remember who sings that? Woo-hoo, Jackie Blue.
Who is it?
I don't know, but as soon as Vic Stauffer started calling her name, I was like, oh, yeah, it's that song. It's a great name for Jack Milton.
Oh, man.
Daughter.
Not only do I not know, I don't think I've ever heard it. First-time starter with the win. We're going to take a timeout. Sam F. Davis winner, Classic Causeway, went back to the tactics that were successful for this horse when he debuted, and it paid off. We'll be back right after this.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, a triple Grade 1 winner, defeating Breeders' Cup champions Dancing in Silks and Amazombie, a leading California sire with over $9.7 million in progeny earnings, with 94 winners in 2021 and graded stakes superstars like Spice Perfection.
Spice Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
And Tiger Dad. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms. It pays to be Cal-bred.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Being told there's an objection at Oaklawn. 8-6-2-4 finish. Try and figure out what's happening for you.
Yeah, but in the meantime, the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, I didn't see anything here, are the ones who sang Jackie Blue, and I got to give a shout out to my old college professor at Towson University, Glenn Shore, huge horse racing fan, just texted in. So I don't know what prize he gets, but
about that song.
Yeah, about the song.
love
But
that.
did you see anything here, Greg?
Yeah, it's tough if we can't see the head-on, too.
Right.
Maybe hopefully we can get a look at that.
Yeah, hopefully. Considering she won by open lengths, you know, it's tough, and it seemed like a fairly strung outfield. Does she lean in here on the runner-up, number 6, Charlotte's Way? A bit, but not enough.
I don't see anything
Right?
there to warrant any
I mean, there was a slight brushing. And we are correct, it's for the win, or is it for places behind? Oh, it looks as though the gray horse.
Her, yeah.
Yeah, the gray horse who's repeatedly bumping into the 4 in here, I would say. So I don't think we have to worry about the win with Jackie Blue.
Is that Ain't-See a Pistol, the 2, perhaps, interfering with Trapinka,
Yes.
the 4?
Yes, I do believe. Yep. So 2 against 4 here for the third and fourth place finishers.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
First bump and repeated.
Repeated, carrying out to the 6th, 7th path eventually.
And very likely a change.
I would say.
third.
I would see these 2 reversed, yeah.
All right, so we'll keep you updated on that. Woohoo, Jackie Blue, first time out, 12-1 for the Ron Moquette barn. The victory, and that's going to shake things up in the exotics there, certainly in the Pick 5 and the Pick 4. We had a lot of stakes action yesterday at Tampa Bay, including Road to the Triple Crown back in action, that Sam F. Davis Classic Causeway. They purposely decided to take back off the pace in that Kentucky Jockey Club. It did not work for them. In the Sam F. Davis, they were intent to get in front.
I saw a great series of photos, just 2 photos. The assistant to Brian Lynch, Calamity Compton, posted them. Ears up at the break, ears up at the finish. This horse was loving his job, and it was good to see him get back to his winning ways with his first start as a 3-year-old here, and they took no prisoners. Yes, Little Vic, maybe they didn't stick to the plan because it's a horse that obviously had more speed, and he was restrained early on, and getting away with a 24-second quarter, I think did help Classic Causeway's cause, but still cool. I mean, he's from the last crop of Giants Causeways we'll ever see, too.
I believe just 3 in that final crop, too.
Yeah.
So, gets it done, gate to wire. By the way, the New York bred Shipsational
awesome performance.
Ran very big. He got second, and Connections now want to keep him in Tampa for the Tampa Bay Derby.
They absolutely should. I thought he ran really well, a horse that I always thought wanted longer. Did I think he was up to the big leagues? He had to prove it to me yesterday, but he absolutely did with that runner-up finish. And probably taken out of his game a little bit more. I thought he would be more forward. We saw him way out the back, and he really ran on well to get that place honor.
Going into that race, I thought there were a lot of horses that looked like they could take another jump forward, but Classic Causeway just too good.
Yeah, he was. Big, robust, as we were saying, son of Giants Causeway. And this, if he makes it there, would be Brian Lynch's first starter in the Kentucky Derby. And if you know Brian Lynch, you love Brian Lynch.
Absolutely. A great, great story. Meanwhile, 3-year-old filly division. Nest for Todd Pletcher. She was making her 3-year-old debut. Demoiselle winner, and she really seemed to make a move forward in her 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, she earned an 82, which just tops her attempted, actually, third-place finish. But I think it was more about the visuals here, Greg. And yes, it could have been a product of what she was facing. She was a heavy favorite in this field, but I really liked the way she was moving. I liked the way she kicked away under wraps here with Arad Ortiz, who won 5 races, including Classic Causeway in the Sam F. Davis.
3 of the 4 stakes.
Yeah, huge day for him. But as Todd Pletcher has said, her pedigree says, and her as an individual has suggested that the longer she goes, the better, and with more age, the better she'll get. And he seems elated with what he saw yesterday, and onwards and upwards for her.
Actually, I think a lake got beat in the Suncoast.
No, oh, you're funny. You're funny. How does he extrapolate elated about elate? One of my favorites, though.
Impressive.
For sure.
Yeah, she didn't beat a ton, though, as you said, in that race. But next spot, I thought I heard Connections say potential. Well, we'll say Ashland.
That's what I heard, too.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. She's fun to watch. Of course, Todd Pletcher with Malathot last year, winning the Kentucky Oaks. We'll see if Nest is going to be able to do it for him again in back-to-back years.
Yeah, a daughter of Curlin out of an AP Indy mare. She's bred to have those type of credentials listed in her PPs.
Fun day of action yesterday on the program. Certainly, that was a big day.
It was. It's huge.
In Festival Preview Day at Tampa. We've been told there was a DQ. It seemed like there's going to be with what we saw, and they have reversed the order of finish with that 3rd and 4th place finishers.
That makes a pretty nice trifecta, Greg, to say the least. 8, 6, 4, and this race kind of dominated by some first-time starters, too.
Wow. Exculpate nowhere.
No.
Thought the 12 had a big chance in here, dropping equipment change. That horse not hitting the board either. $26 winner, exacta $207. 50-cent trifecta, $711. But not easy at all to come up with. The feature is next in Hot Springs. They're 8th on the card. Mile and a 16th, an allowance optional claiming field, and Sunpath, Willful Woman in a showdown here. Sunpath, even money. There's some other intriguing fillies and mares, though, in this field.
I agree with you, and a horse that is taking some money right now, number 5. It's all in the notes. I can totally relate to that name. I thought, she was facing world's better company in her last start in that Pippin, and before that, when aggressively handled, she ran very well to win that December 12th effort.
I'm with you. She's interesting. Blessed again. The layoff probably a concern, but she has some races that fit with this group. No question. We're going to recap more stakes action from Saturday. Miss Bigley, huge in the Bayakoa, and Plainsman still going strong as a 7-year-old for Brad Cox.
Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions, proudly standing the ultra-fast, multiple stakes-winning son of Uncle Mo, King for a Day, the only horse to defeat 2019 3-year-old champion Maximum Security.
Well, King for a Day was basically a clone of Uncle Mo. I mean, good speed, the ability to carry it over distance to ground, real professional horse and a really cool horse to train.
Sire maker extraordinaire Uncle Mo, represented in New York by King for a Day. Visit ihdvstallions.com to book your mare today.
Back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. Feature next from Hot Springs, Arkansas. In the feature yesterday, or one of the co-features, I guess you should say, Distaff Division, Brad Cox, this is not often you're going to hear this, had 2 of the fillies or mares to beat in that race. Neither of them hit the board. It was Miss Bigley's chance to really shine as a 6-year-old mare.
And it was odd that we saw both Brad Cox runners in their go out to the front end as he did send out Coach, who was your favorite, as well as the rail runner in here, Matera. And they just kind of went head and head the whole way, and boy, Ramon Vasquez just gave Miss Bigley the perfect trip. Just sat behind those early pace setters, tipped out, found the seam, and she kicked away quite sweetly for trainer Phil D'Amato.
8th win of her career, and a nice start to 2022. She was second to Coach in her 6-year-old debut, and now able to turn the tables on her, but she did get a nice setup in this race. Still, good performance. Phil D'Amato and Agave Racing Stable. Let's go to Gary Stevens. Gary, your thoughts on Miss Bigley's win?
I was really impressed with Miss Bigley. She ran well the first time that she ran here, but nothing like she did yesterday. She really stepped forward. Great ride by Ramon Dominguez. Saved all the ground going into the first turn. He was patient. He was up in the pocket. He waited for room at the head of the stretch. And when her acceleration came, it was sudden. It was powerful. And I was super impressed with it. I was impressed with that ride. I was impressed with the way she's been training in the morning. I've been keeping an eye on her. I didn't expect her to run that big, but I expected her to run big. And I'm sure that the next goal will be the Zenyatta at the end of the meet, or the Apple Blossom, excuse me. Yeah, she got that grade 3 under her belt, and super impressed with her.
Got to imagine Brad Cox was not too happy the way things played out.
No, I've seen Brad after races where he was not happy about it. I would not want to be working for him or riding for him in that moment. And that's what makes Brad great, though, too, in the same respect, is that he's so passionate and he has such a desire to win. But back to Miss Bigley here, she's a half to a multiple grade 1 winner in Fashion Plate. So getting this graded stakes victory adds so much to her value, as Phil D'Amato said after the race, that Breeders' Cup Distaff might be the end goal here, and then to go to the sale. So Connections looking for possibly her to sell very well at the end of the year.
Yeah. Meanwhile, boys getting their turn in the Razorback grade 3 as well, and seemed like a wide open race. One of the big storylines in here was Lone Rock cutting back to a mile and a 16th for the first time in almost a year. And if he ran well in this race, they were thinking to potentially go to the Dubai World Cup. In the end, 2 horses ran 1-2 all the way around the racetrack. Plainsman, Thomas Shelby. What a tactically terrific ride from Joel Rosario.
Yeah, just staying glued to Thomas Shelby, because if you let Thomas Shelby get away and do his own thing, Thomas Shelby's going to do it, and he's going to win, and he almost did. He was so game in defeat, but, it was kind of funny, Greg. I thought you can make a case for so many horses in there, but the public nailed Plainsman. They had him as the 9-5 favorite. He gets his 3rd grade 3 victory. And boy, as you were mentioning, he hasn't slowed down now as a 7-year-old. I remember this guy winning the grade 3 Discovery as a 3-year-old here at Aqueduct, and then he disappeared, and he shows back up in Hall of Famer Shug McGahee's barn. Now he's back with Brad Cox, and he has been very good as of late here, and it's good to see him kick off his 7-year-old season with a win like that.
Brad Cox felt that the race before this, Cigar Mile, maybe the best race he's ever run, comes back in his 7-year-old debut and runs just as good and adds another win, and now over $1 million in earnings in his career. Gary, your thoughts on that performance?
I loved his performance. I loved Joel Rosario's ride aboard. He was aggressive leaving there, made sure that he got a good break. He said it wasn't exactly his plan to go to the lead, but he's a reaction rider. He reacts at the moment, and he knew that he had to keep pace and pretty much shadow Thomas Shelby all the way around there, which he did. And it was a great race to watch, and it came down to it at the end. Both horses, I thought, ran excellent races, but I think that him being aggressive leaving there and shadowing Thomas Shelby was the game changer for the race, guys.
Still got now the Essex Oaklawn handicap. And after this performance, you got to think he's going to stay on that path.
Absolutely. It's kind of what the connection sounded like. And especially for John Ed Anthony of Shortleaf Stable, he's a local guy. So I'm sure he wants to keep one of the best horses in his stable in Arkansas.
Feature is coming up next, and it's going to be fillies and mares in this contest at a mile and a 16th. Let's take a look at the Oaklawn Stakes schedule coming up. Dixie Belle on February 19th. The Rebel back on the Triple Crown Trail February 26th. And there's the Azeri.
And there's those Arkansas races, isn't it? Down the is that
down
right?
the Dusty Road.
And who did we just see win emphatically?
Garhole, right?
Garhole. Wow.
Very impressive in that race.
Yeah.
3 in a row now for him.
Yeah. So, speaking of John and Anthony.
As for this one coming up, Sunpath, 6-5 favorite. Disappointed, no question, as an odds-on favorite in her last start.
I mean, the poor thing, has just been living in her sister Bonnie South's shadow for quite a while, and I don't think she's kind of reached expectations. They did experiment and add the blinkers. It did not work out well, Greg. She was ranked. She was throwing her head in Florent Giroux's face for the entire first quarter of that race. I'm not sure. And as I always say, horses doing that will expend far more energy than them just going maybe a little bit quicker than you would like to see. So it did end up being a poor performance. The blinkers come off today. But I'm a little dubious of that last race. The Mary Rose went off and buried that field. She came back in the Houston Ladies Classic at a shortish price and was a bad fifth.
Yeah, 5th of 7 in there. That was not something to flatter this one's form. I got to say that she was off from March 6th until November, Sunpath that we're looking at. Her sprint race coming back was actually very good. But maybe it was just a case of not liking having those blinkers on.
I agree with you. You can make excuses. I get it. But at a short price, as you were saying before the break, I think there's some interesting alternatives here.
Well, the second choice on the board, Willful Woman. She was
even worse, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. You look at her some of the other figures I look at, and there she is. Joel Rosario, Steve Asmussen going to get overbet as a result, which we talk about all meet long with those connections. The numbers she has ran, I thought were not that bad, actually, the last couple of starts.
No, her numbers aren't, and maybe that's what it'll all come down to, that these horses are just faster. But she had unlike Sunpath, I think she had a perfect trip last time. And while nobody was catching the Mary Rose, she was outfinished for second. She should have been second. And she was outfinished and ended up 4th. Like I said, she might just be better. She might just be faster than many of these in here. It might just come down to that. But like I said, too, at short prices, maybe you can work some other horses into your wagers.
Jonathan, your thoughts here on this feature on the Sunday card?
Hi, Wolfie. Hi, Maggie. I'm glad you're not cold anymore. Look, I think the 7 Willful Woman makes sense. She's in that kind of outside draw, which I like. I talk about it all the time at Oaklawn. She's got nice figures. She's got back figures that work. The problem is, a lot of times, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the 3 Sunpath, when you're looking at 2 different horses and you want to try to get creative and try to beat the favorite, which is obviously Sunpath, the problem is when the price is as close as it is, you're almost better off just going with the favorite. At least that's how I look at it. I wanted to pick Willful Woman thinking I was going to get 3-1 and I was going to be cute while everyone else was playing Sunpath. But if the prices are going to be as close as they are, then I would ultimately like to side with Sunpath. Now, look, Sunpath did not run particularly well last time. I think she had an excuse. She was wide all the way around there. That takes a lot out of horses, and maybe that was an excuse second off of a layoff. I expect her to run better this time. If she runs back to her debut at, her first start off a layoff at Churchill, her Honeybee, and even her race back at Fairgrounds when she was a 3-year-old. She'll win this race, and it'll be very nice and easy, and I think she'll do that. So with the prices where they are, give me the 3 Sunpath.
All right, Jonathan, thanks. Our post-parade coming up. I mean, yeah, whenever it's Asmussen and Rosario, and that's who you get with the 7 Willful Woman, you're never going to get value at this meet.
Yeah, it's always going to hurt your price. I agree with Jonathan. If you're trying to beat, as he said, the favorite, I think because, too, I think Sunpath had a less advantageous trip and the blinker experiment didn't work. She had a bigger excuse in her last effort than Willful Woman.
Here is Turnstone, who has won 4 times on dirt, but 3 of those on wet tracks.
Yeah, and she's going to have to just get faster, I think, a little bit faster in her dirt races. I mean, the last dirt race that she went on a fast track, it was a claiming 20 non-2 life.
Break curfew, stretching out from sprints.
I mean, maybe she's dangerous if they decide to show speed with her. She's not that fast, though. She was wired by Sarah Harper last time, and she did have a little bit of trouble midway down the lane. She kept on, so maybe she's a little bit of a live long shot.
Here's Sunpath. Her maiden victory was very good. Then she backed it up next time out. She hasn't come back to those races.
No, she is looking to get back on track after kind of a promising 3-year-old campaign. We'll see if she can do it here.
This mare, last time she was on dirt at Canterbury, her numbers thoroughgraph-wise fit with everybody in this field.
And it's not like it was a weak field either, Greg. Those numbers hold up with that field.
It's all in the notes. The 5 went by. We'll get back to that one because I know you like that mare. And then Blessed again, the 6.
Yes, she has races that fit. But this trainer, 0 for 22 at the meet, not to pile on, but also 0 for 11 off of 6-month plus layoffs in dirt routes.
Joelle Rosario for Asmussen on Willful Woman.
Like I said, I thought she had no excuse last time out, but ultimately she's run faster races than many of these.
And 12-1 outside, West Side girl Calvin Burrell.
Yeah, she takes a step up in class, beaten favorite last time, but was wired that day. She cannot get out of the gate as of late.
4 minutes to post coming up in this Sunday feature. Let's go back to Gary with more on the 2-time reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be his last 2 Eclipse Awards, to be honest with you. Listen, he's got the ability to shift horses wherever he wants to ship them, anytime, rotating horses in and out. So we're going to see this continually through the meet. He's second in the trainer standings here right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't wind up leading trainer. And listen, as far as Sunpath goes, I love that the blinkers are coming off. He put blinkers on her last time. Blinkers came off because she was ranked last time, meaning she was pulling. She was using a lot of energy early on. But I don't necessarily like what I was seeing when she was going through the post parade. She was jiggy-jogging, very nervous, so hopefully she calms down a little bit after the pre-race warm-up and settles a little better than she did last time. I definitely think that Florent Giroux is going to have more control today of her than he did last time. Just took a lot of energy out of her early on. So with the blinkers off, maybe he'll have a chance to get her to settle better today. Guys?
All right, good information, Gary. Thanks. 8-5. We'll keep an eye on her leading up to the load. I
would like to say, even if she let her be forward, I would think. I don't know. I think fighting her is the wrong thing. I'd like to see her be forwardly placed because her better efforts did come when she was sitting right off of paces. Yeah, maybe they were slowish type of paces, but this race does not project to have a particularly fast pace either.
Yeah, I gotta think the 2 stretching out is going to be the one in front.
Maybe, but look, she did run a mile way back in June of 2021, and she wasn't anywhere near the lead. Granted, that's a 1-turn mile, so it could be apples and oranges. But you go back to 2020, here at Aqueduct, 1-turn mile, she was on the lead. We'll see.
She's certainly doesn't have the speed she used to. She used to have legitimate sprint speed.
Right.
Yeah, that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, but I thought her last race was actually a promising effort behind Sarah Harper, who is a promising type, does have that early speed, and she, in break curfew, had traffic. Boy, you talk about nervous types. Love to see her. I know we have no control over the cameras here, but she was always such a nervous filly. The two when she was in New York. So I'm wondering if she's settled at all. She certainly hasn't missed a beat, running 13 times in 2021 and already a start this year.
Used to be, with Chad Brown. Actually put her in the Grade 2 Goldenrod off a debut maiden win.
Yeah. And then I think Steve Asmussen and Toby Sheets claimed her. And now she's in the Midwest.
Things change quickly in this sport, and we'll see stretching back out for the first time in a long time for her. She's 15-1 on the board. 6-5 on Sunpath. can she get back to some of that very good 3-year-old form that had her on the road for a little bit to the Kentucky Oaks?
Well, Greg, let's talk a little bit about It's All in the Notes, whom, as we were saying, break curfew, she could be the speed. But It's All in the Notes, if Kelsey Haar is aggressive, she could be forward here once again. And we know Kelsey is aggressive. She drops out of that Pippin where we've seen 3 horses come back to win. Obviously, Miss Bigley, WWE Fitzy came back to win, and also the 4th place finisher came back to win with an 88 buyer too. So she didn't, I don't want to say she didn't do much running because she did press, coach the whole way, but she didn't have much of an answer in the stretch. But again, a little bit of class relief. Maybe she is one that now, as a 5-year-old, is getting just a bit better.
She is 8-1 right now. We're talking about the 5. It's all in the notes. And, yeah, she was just in over her head last time. She was 27-1. She was 27-1 before that when she won here on this racetrack in a money-earned allowance.
Yeah, so, I mean, you definitely kind of missed the wedding with her 2 back, but still not a bad price of 8-1.
Meanwhile, Blessed Again. Obviously, the long layoff is a big concern. You got to work a couple back. There was a bullet drill, quickest to 40 in the morning, has shown some ability. They've tried her in some tough spots, too. She hasn't been up to the likes of the Pippin Company last year. But what do you make of her chances?
You mentioned a good work. She doesn't work that consistently, though, which it might be a little reason to be somewhat apprehensive. There's talent there. The layoff, I just wish this trainer had better numbers with layoff runners. So I think I'd take the wait-and-see approach. And oftentimes off of these longer layoffs, going the 2 turns, sometimes it's a need the race type of vantage point.
I looked at this field, and I felt like you couldn't really trust anybody in this group. That's why even someone like the 4, the layoff is not ideal. She's been off since July, and she
is taking no money, isn't she?
32-1. But again, she's got figures that fit with this group.
Yeah. I guess that is kind of saying stay away. But I see what you're saying. Her race 2 back, albeit at Canterbury. Again, not a bad field that she faced. The 77 makes her at least one to get a piece of it.
Yeah, maybe the one you use underneath. 7-5 favorite Public, siding with Sunpath. For Brad Cox, Florent Giroux will be aboard, trying to get back to the winner's circle for the first time since December 2020. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. It's All in the Notes. Wins the break and is immediately sent to the front, but Blessed Again is also asked for speed, and those 2 go quickly. Sunpath, Pretty Extreme, and Willful Woman make up the second flight. Then comes Break Curfew and Turnstone, and the early trailer is West Side Girl. It's All in the Notes is clear, but she's had to run fast to get there. It's All in the Notes, and Kelsey Haar a length in front. Blessed Again is second 3/4 of a length to Pretty Extreme, who's tugging up 3 wide. Sunpath sits 4th at the rail and 2.5 lengths off the lead and a length in front of Willful Woman. Break Curfew has 5 lengths to make up. She's ahead in front of Turnstone, and then 6 lengths last to West Side Girl as they head up the backstretch. It's All in the Notes is 4.5 furlongs from the money and 3/4 of a length in front of Blessed Again in second. Pretty Extreme is 3 deep in third. Sunpath travels nicely at the rail. She's 2.5 off the lead. Willful Woman going to try to split horses. Turnstone has 5 lengths to make up. Break Curfew's just inside of her. West Side Girl has trailed throughout. It's All in the Notes has led throughout. It's All in the Notes just now a neck in front of Blessed Again, who's threatening to run a big one in second. 3 back now to an all-in Sunpath. Then comes at the rail Willful Woman. Here comes Blessed Again outside of It's All in the Notes, and Blessed Again has put ahead in front. It's All in the Notes will try to battle back, but Blessed Again comes by mid-stretch and now leads by a full length and a half. It's All in the Notes is second. Willful Woman is coming on, but Blessed Again is clear. Willful Woman is closing now, and she is closing fast. Blessed Again. Willful Woman emerging and trying to get her, and it looks like she's got her. Willful Woman in time. Willful Woman beat Blessed Again. It's All in the Notes and Sunpath.
Rosario Asmussen and Willful Woman, third trip to the winner's circle for her.
You know, I thought we were being clever. A horse that you liked drew away from the horse that I liked. And then there's Willful Woman, Joel Rosario, the strongest finisher in the game. Typically just hands and heels, had to go to the crop a little bit here. I don't think they named her that well because she isn't the most willful woman. But with his encouragement, she got the job done today. And not a great performance from Sunpath.
No,
I think she ended up fourth, but a bad fourth.
7-6, 5-3 favorite checks in, in fourth in here. Willful Woman comes and gets blessed again. And gets beat here, but that was a big effort off a long layoff.
A huge effort. I would be ecstatic, and a great job preparing her. I was concerned about the layoff and the way that she'd been training with the spaces of her works, but she was a horse that had the figures to run this type of performance, and her trainer, I am always hesitant to say it, Lynn Claybrad, I think is how you say it, apologies if I butchered it, had her ready. It's just she got beat by a horse with recency.
So Willful Woman takes the feature. And we're going to say that a lot at this meet with these connections. Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario, and a 4-year-old filly by Nyquist. The victory prices when we come back. Quick timeout and our final segment ahead on America's Day at the Races. Stay with us here on FS2.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Run Happy, the #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Feature in the books on this Sunday card from Oaklawn. Willful Woman running down, blessed again. Joel Rosario, Steve Asmussen. And the third win of her career in 10 starts.
And she, like I said, I wasn't her biggest fan off of her last effort, but she did need the length of the stretch to get the job done. As we saw, blessed again, huge performance off the long layoff, tackle the pace setter. It's all in the notes. Good Kelsey Haar, aggressive riding, but Joel Rosario with his patented closing finish with Willful Woman getting the job done. She did switch back to her inside lead late here, but I think the story too is that Sunpath just never fired and is one that's never really lived up to possibly the hype. And I feel like it's always tough for these younger siblings to live in the shadow.
Yeah.
But speaking of younger siblings, we had 2 fools running stakes this weekend, and the younger sibling did much better here at Aqueduct.
Yeah, you're talking about Barise, both out of the dam right prevails. We had that heavy favorite. Get beat in our feature today, but Barise certainly did not disappoint. You know, you look at this race and you say, oh, wow, did Bold Journey just fold in the stretch? Numbers coming back suggest that Barise just ran huge. 87 buyer for this win.
Well, look at where the horse that Bold Journey had to battle with finishes. He finishes dead last. That is G-money. And Barise, it was almost a carbon copy of his Rego Park win in that Dylan has to get after him. But boy, he just, right here, he just accelerates. And you can see his stride gets faster. It wasn't Bold Journey necessarily stopping. And, you know, people are just so quick to write off Bold Journey, not a miler. Maybe he does, you know, switch back to these sprint distances. But let's not forget, he is a hard spun whom they get a bit better, I think, as they get older. And he's a half-sibling brother to American Revolution. So I'm not writing him off totally yet with this performance, because look at where the horse that battled with him finished. Barise is a nice horse. He has been crying out to go longer, and I think he'll even go longer than this, as you were mentioning connections, thinking about stepping onto the Triple Crown Trail.
Yeah, Wood Memorial they're considering after this performance, and out of the gate he didn't get out good, lost a shoe in the process as well. Dylan Davis has said now back-to-back starts. It's just a horse who takes a little while to kind of wind up and get into his best stride.
Well, he just seems like such a laid-back individual, but I like the fact, too, it's not as if he's this deep closer that takes a while to get into his stride. He finds a rhythm. He gets forward position and finds that rhythm. It's just getting that, you know, sixth gear that takes a little while to get out of him, but he delivers.
Well, his full sister, who you were alluding to, that was Breakfast at Bonnie's, who was the favorite in our feature today. The Broadway, there was just no beating, kept waiting in this performance, who decided to try dirt, and you talked to Rob Falcone when she debuted on it a week ago, because there's no turf racing around right now. Ran huge that day and backed it up again today.
Well, you know, she missed the majority of the New York bred turf season. For whatever reason, she was off from late April to late October. So now he's got her going good with that big performance back in December on the turf. Why not? I mean, you have a horse that's doing well, don't keep him in the barn, run him, and his experiment has worked out really well. And we saw Rob do this as well with Maiden Beauty coming back in the Bay Ridge off of a week rest, off of a win as well. So really, this horse looks as though she's been waiting to get on the dirt for her entire career.
Taking a shot, it seemed unlikely, but now with 2 wins in a week's time, profiting about $100,000 for the efforts.
When things are going well, things are going really well.
We talked a lot about Classic Causeway on this show and that win in the Sam F. Davis. We got another horse who's a little, I don't know if he's certainly not under the radar anymore, but Brad Cox, what a performance from Zozos, who won in the debut sprinting, stretched out to a mile and a 16th, got an 88 buyer in the process, and now Brad Cox thinking they're going to take one big swing, give this horse one shot to get into the Derby.
Well, hey, I mean, Justified did it a couple of years ago. He turned out to be a Triple Crown winner. This guy really responded well to the stretch out and distance, Greg. He did put away this field, but he did it in the right kind of way, defeating the heavily backed Barossa as well.
Another Munnings.
Go figure, right?
Jack Christopher, of course, was
we'll see how far
the
they
big
really
Munnings
want to
make
go.
a splash. What's that?
See how far they really
Yeah.
want to go to the mile to quarter distances.
We'll find out. Be exciting to watch. It's going to get one big swing and a chance to get to that first Saturday in May. We are back next Friday, 3 Eastern time on FS2. It was kept waiting, as we just talked about in the Broadway. Now a perfect 2 for 2 on dirt, and I would think that's the surface where she will remain going forward. Willful Woman able to run down Blessed again. It was coming in off the bench. Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario team up for the victory in the Sunday feature from Oaklawn. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody.